For the first time since April's hamstring injury and scored. Egypt's got their first ever World Cup win at the 9th attempt, coming back to beat New Zealand 3-1. Iran at the top of that group despite ongoing travel restrictions. Iran got a goalless draw with 10-man Belgium, who now need to beat New Zealand to make the round of 32. Meanwhile, Ollie Watkins fully backs Jeremy Doku's decision to leave the Belgium camp for the birth of his first child.
There's a lot of times where you're away from family and friends during the season and it's very difficult periods, so to miss that would be tough, and I see where he's coming from. I think he has all right to go back.
A French TV presenter criticised Doku for wanting to leave the Belgium camp. She's since apologised. And Jamie George is back as England rugby captain for this summer's Nations Championship. Maro Itoje has taken the summer to rest ahead of the World Cup next year. More from talkSPORT.com.
talkSPORT News.
The breaking news this morning, Sir Keir Starmer has announced his resignation. He's given an emotional statement in Downing Street, acknowledging his time as Prime Minister had run out. In the last few minutes, the Reform UK leader Nigel Farage has called for a general election. More from Emma at past.
talkSPORT weather with QuickFit. This summer, treat yourself to Bridgestone Turanza All-Season 6 tyres with a 25,000 mileage guarantee. Book today at quickfit.com. Conditions apply.
Increasingly hot and humid in the southeast, where the best of the sunshine is. Elsewhere, cloudy with a few areas of showery rain, particularly in the north and in Scotland.
Hello, I'm Matt Forden from talkSPORT. This is how to win the World Cup.
This is the best squad I think England have ever had.
He used to love America, now he doesn't. It's very sad.
It was so important to succeed because of all the pressure we received.
Don't jump for this one, I'm going to knock his head off.
Warning, this podcast does not guarantee England will actually win anything.
Good morning, this is Paul Hawksbee and Andy Jacobs with you through until 1 o'clock here on talkSPORT, where overnight they've been dancing in the streets of, stops to check, capital of Cape Verde, Praia.
Oh, really?
Yeah, they've been dancing in the streets of Praia.
Of course they have.
Yeah. So, Andy, what's coming up?
Coming up over the next 3 hours, Alan Pardew joins us to talk four quarters, shot-shy strikers, and that's not an easy thing to say.
Shot-shy strikers?
And referees' homework.
Yeah.
Referee homework. We'll mark the 40th anniversary of Maradona's most notorious performance, and we'll look at Scotland's chances of qualifying for the next stage of the tournament with one Alan Bernard Brazil.
Yeah, the big man joins us for a bit of a Scotland chat later. We also want your TV formats for Curaçao's hero keeper, Eloy Room, R-O-O-M.
Yeah.
Do your worst. And our creature of the night stays up till gone 4 for Egypt versus New Zealand, so you didn't have to.
OK, there's all this plus Tom Rennie on the joys of hate-watching old West Ham managers as they fail. We'll discover why we've had a World Cup goal fest so far. And Shaban Ahern takes the streets of Charlotte for a birthday spread with a difference.
Yeah, Shaban's gone off and taken the format to Charlotte, North Carolina. So... it's probably only 5 minutes long, but it is a waste of 5 minutes in a kid's game, let's be honest.
She's trying to get her own back for me, taking the mickey out of her singing and the bagpipes.
Yeah, that's right. You do love the pipes, Andy, as re-established.
Yeah, no.
Anyway, it's 4 minutes past 1. Good morning, everyone. Good morning, Mr. Jacobs.
Good morning, everyone.
I feel like I've been coshed around the head by football repeatedly. Since we were last here, Scotland have played, Brazil have played. I mean, you just can't keep up with it all, can you?
There's a lot of games.
Turkey were an absolute joke, weren't they? I mean, how many, can you have 60? We'll talk to Pards about this. If you send a team out and you say, lad, you're going to have 62 shots, and still not get a goal.
Turkey and Ecuador have been the disappointing.
They have been, really. I mean, they are so much better than that, but some of the finishing was just rank from Turkey, wasn't it?
And they can't all be good.
No, that's very true. The Holland, Sweden was great. Brian Brobby was fantastic, wasn't he?
He was, yeah. We've got Tom Rennie on. He was so funny about Graham Potter. He's so pleased to see
Lopetegui
thrashing.
and Potter. as ex-West Ham people, he's not massively keen on. He just basically hate watching their games, hoping they lose.
It's good.
So he'll be touching on that.
Now, I promise
even
you...
the nil-nils have... Sorry, I'm saying even the nil-nils have been entertaining, haven't they? I thought Belgium-Iran was a compelling game last night.
Compelling?
I was still in it, yeah. I thought Iran might
That was
score.
one of the worst games I've ever seen in my life. It was a stinker.
Call yourself a football fan. I've seen worse games than that of the world.
Quality. The lack of quality.
Yeah, I know. I mean, Lukaku looks very Sunday morning at the moment.
Game. But it was good to see Lady Bracknell's favourite player playing for Iran.
Oh, yeah.
Jahan Bash.
That's right, Jahan Bash. This one for all the Oscar Wilde fans. And they what a big... In the Venn diagram of talkSPORT listeners, I don't know where Oscar Wilde features. But, sorry.
Anyway,
yeah.
I promised that I'd be giving you a present every day.
Yeah, my wife asked me, she said, "Is the tat?" I said, "No, the tat starts Monday. You're going to give me an item of World Cup tat."
So I've got one for today, but as you know, I'm not in tomorrow, so I'm going to give you...
Shall I save it till tomorrow?
Save it tomorrow.
I'll put it in the bag.
It's England focused, that one, so I need you to open that one tomorrow.
Brilliant, Andy. Thank you. So this is today's... Andy went online, spent 75 quid, I think his own money, unless he's claiming it.
No, I can't claim it.
On World Cup tat. And he claims it is real tat. You started off with that glass, which I tried to drink it. I was slightly worried it wouldn't hold liquid. It's a very fine glass, and I don't think because it's good quality. I tapped the bottom of it, and I thought my finger was going to go through it.
It's not ideal, is it?
So, World Cup, it's in the shape of the World Cup trophy, the one Andy... So here we go. This is today's bit of World Cup tat. Beautifully wrapped in football wrapping paper.
My wife did that. She's
thank you, Sue. Thanks very much. Oh, here we go then. What is it?
It's a
World
tote
Cup
bag.
This is nice. Look at this. World Cup tote bag. If I'm showing the camera
transfers.
And you put transfers on it, or can I just?
I just think you just use the transfers.
Okay, I might adorn my iPad or something with one of the.
Or your grandson.
Yeah, my grandson can have it. It's a sponge finger on it. A couple of footballs.
Nice, isn't it?
Actually, they're temporary. They're not stickers. They're temporary tattoos.
I'm prepared to have one of those.
Shall we both have a tat this? I haven't got any yet. So we'll put a tat, shall we? That sounds like a nice idea. All right, we'll get tattooed.
That is a quality item, isn't it?
That is nice. Look at that.
Genuine.
Under £7.50 with that as well. So does it work? Does it work as a hat?
It certainly does.
Not bad, is it? I might stand for election.
It's good.
Okay, there we are. Lord Baghead.
Yeah.
So anyway, on to the football. Alan Pardew's going to join us for a chat. Some of the, again, heroic performances. Cape Verde, that was sensational. I watched the highlights this morning. Just to get back into the game having gone 2-1
incredible,
down.
Really. I felt for Grant Hanley as well. I mean, to do it, for him to be the one that made the mistake. Again.
Yeah.
Because that happened in the last tour.
Yeah.
You know, but...
bit of a blow. I also, everybody's saying, Spain laying down a marker. With respect, Saudi Arabia weren't up to much, were they? So we don't quite know yet. But they got a bit of swagger about them, didn't they?
There have been some poor teams in this tournament.
Yeah.
You know, but you're going to get that with 48 teams. That's what's going to happen, isn't
it? Fantastic, heroic performance. You say Ecuador were disappointing. I mean, they created a lot of chances, but Eloy Room...
was tremendous. But, I mean, they haven't had a result yet. What happens in a group? That group where, there wasn't a draw, was it? And New Zealand lost to Egypt.
Yeah.
I was just wondering what happens if all the games are drawn, but it's not going to happen, so it doesn't need to worry about it.
No, but we are, there's been a lot of talk, and we're going to talk about Alan Brazil later on about Scotland. There's been a lot of talk about how they can get through with 3 points. I mean, I think it is doable, but you are relying on snookers a bit, aren't you? Ideally, they want to try and get something out of the Brazil game.
I can't see.
We'll see what Alan thinks. If they can just, I don't know, it's very difficult, isn't it? And they definitely should have had one of those. Was definitely a pen, I felt. Yeah. I thought the McTominay one.
You said to me very early on, and you were right. They're not giving pens, and it's a very high bar.
The bar is incredible. You could tell quite early on in the tournament. Actually, the bar generally has been quite high for fouls. It's almost like Kalina has said, look, let's keep the games moving. Let's just try and let's keep the threshold.
From that point of view, it's good. But I mean, we're going to talk about this. There's been a record amount of goals. I went through and counted them all up.
Yeah.
There've been 114 so far. And in the last tournament, there were only 172. And we've seen great goalkeeping and a lack of penalties. So it's amazing, isn't it?
Yeah. Well, we're going to have a chat about that a little bit later on. Why do we think we're seeing so many goals in this tournament so far? As we said, Alan's going to join us for a chat, but of Scotland, see if he's been enjoying the World Cup, see how he's faring after his big op. Talking of Alan's, Pards will join us. We've got some ground to cover with him. Interesting comments from Marcelo Bielsa. Obviously, smarting the fact that they were able to draw overnight, the Uruguay manager.
No, he made these before.
Yeah. Oh, okay. He's been talking about the hydration breaks, and he, look, he is a wise old man. He's been around the game for a long time, and if he speaks, maybe people should listen.
It's a fundamental alteration in a game of football. We all know that. The fans are booing it. Nobody likes it.
No, I mean it's become a bit panto, but it's true nobody does like it. But your point was we'll talk to Alan Pardew about this in a minute, because I think your point. I've not had anybody else say it, but you're absolutely right. But we'll come on to that in a moment. What else we got for you? We're going to be obviously our creature of the night will join us. Tom Rennie, hate watching the managers, as we said. Mark Butcher's going to join us to talk a bit of cricket. A few reports today. Michael Vaughan, interesting piece in the Telegraph. He feels that relationship between Brendan McCullum and Ben Stokes has probably broken down forever. We'll get Mark Butcher's thoughts, former England batsman, on that, see what he's making of the World Cup so far as a big football fan. Max Scott is out and about. I think we may have something with a bit of an Argentinian flavour later on, so we'll bring you that.
Good.
Chris Ashton, a man who likes his football as well, formerly in the world of rugby union and rugby league, looks back on the Premiership rugby final. All manner of other stuff. But Eloy Room is one of the stars of the weekend for his fantastic performance between the sticks for Curaçao. He said, he was joking though, he says, I feel like I should have a statue. I mean, maybe they've started working on it already. But yeah, he made 15 saves, the joint most at the World Cup since record began in 1966, when, of course, the World Cup properly began in the eyes of us, Scotland fans. So do let us know TV formats for Eloy Room. Yeah. talksport.com/H&J. Text to 81089. Tweet to TSH&J 03717 22 3344. You can get in touch on anything. Give us a call, whatever you want to talk about at this World Cup. If you're a Scotland fan still smarting, feeling that you're going to be all right against Brazil, if you're an England fan looking ahead to tomorrow, whatever it is you want to say about this World Cup, 03717 22 3344. talksport.com/H&J. Text to 81089. Tweet to TSH&J. All draws groups. Remember England, 1990, with Holland, Ireland and Egypt. If Mark Wright hadn't scored that header against Egypt, with Gazza's free kick and all that, would have been drawing lots to decide. Maybe no Gazza tears if lots had been drawn, and who knows what the world would have looked like, says Dave. Dave has a very good point. If you think of the knock-on effect of Italia 90, the Premier League, for example, which I think got a massive leg up. I mean, football's not in a good place before then, so you make a very good point, Dave.
That's true.
That's a big goal from Mark Wright. Maybe we should have a statue of him. Room 101. Celebrities reveal what they dislike the most about goalkeeper Eloy Room. That'd be a bit tough on his mental health, wouldn't it? Frank Skinner saying, anyway, what do you really hate about Eloy? Curaçao TV. Yeah, Curaçao Frank Skinner. I don't know what he'd be like. I imagine he'd be quite good. Talksport.com/H&J. Text to 81089. Tweet to TSH&J 03717 223344. We kick off then with Alan Pardew, don't we? Is there anything else you want to run past?
No, just did you see El Yunusi's shirt? Did you see when it was like practically hanging off his back?
Ripped off of him, was it?
Ripped off. It reminded me of Helen Chamberlain's idea, which she once put forward on Fantasy Football. It was a really good idea.
To stop shirt pulling?
Velcro strips. So the shirt's Velcroed on rather than...
So you know if a shirt has been pulled.
So if you end up with this shirt in your hand, that's it. You can't.
Don't we have VAR to go back and look at that now, though?
I don't think we do, judging by El Yunusi's
Also, wouldn't that chafe a bit? If suddenly your shirt came loose and it was like Velcro on skin,
there is
on
that
sweaty skin for 85 minutes.
A big problem.
Yeah, that's why I'm out. Helen, I'm afraid I won't be invested in your Velcro shirts.
I quite liked it.
Talksport.com, text 81089, tweet TSH&J. Pards to kick us off to cover a fair bit of ground from the tournament, and Mark Butcher also joining us this hour. We will have some reaction from Palace supporting John Pienaar. He'll join us, and the big story of the day, of course, is Keir Starmer, the Prime Minister, has resigned, and we'll have more on that from John a little bit later on in the show. We're here with our good friends at the Selco Builders Warehouse. It's where the trade go.
Benty and I were talking about that in great detail on yesterday's show, about whether or not he should start, how much game time he should have. Because he's Cristiano Ronaldo, I think there's so much pressure on the manager, Roberto Martinez, to pick him, to start him, etc. What's your view on a situation like that? What do you do, Rio?
Well, Roberto Martinez is paid the money to make this decision, and I think it's the way that he handles that it will be key. I think if he was going to attempt to kind of take Cristiano Ronaldo out of the team, I think it's all about the narrative. I think it's all about approaching him and going, listen, if he thinks this is how I'll do it. We've got a better chance of winning it for you coming on with 30 minutes to go when the opposition are tired, when their limbs are all weary, lactic acid is building up in all these players' legs, and they see Cristiano Ronaldo warming up on the side, and you come on and terrorise them and capitalise on that in the latter stages of the games. Do you think anyone's going to be bothered when you lift that trophy as our captain? No. So here we go. You're going to start some games, but then some you're not going to start, but that's part of the plan. And at 41 years old, I'm sure that Cristiano would understand that because, listen, we all know, Benty, you're the same. When we were getting older, things weren't working as quickly, as smoothly as they once were. But there's no denying the guy's potent. When the ball drops in the box, if you had three players to the top three players in the world for the ball to drop to, he'd be one of the guys you wanted to drop to even still now because he's that potent. He's got almost 1,000 goals. But listen, if it was down to me, I think I would take that same approach I just mentioned there. I'd pull him in and out of games depending on the opponents. And I'd just have to make sure that I talk to him and make sure he understands that. But one thing I would say when I watched him, I think a lot of blame and a lot of people are pointing the finger at Cristiano. I don't think the actual service into him was great either, by the way, or an opportunity to put his way often. I saw...
Hello, I'm Matt Fordham from talkSPORT. This is How to Win the World Cup.
This is the best squad I think England have ever had.
He used to love America, now he doesn't. It's very sad.
It was so important to succeed because of all the pressure we received.
Don't jump for this one, I'm going to knock his head off.
Warning, this podcast does not guarantee England will actually win anything.
She's from Texas, I can tell by the way he's two-stepping round the room. And judging by the smile.
Let's see those arms. Not if you're driving, obviously, as we always say. That's Ella Langley. She's a country singer, obviously. Yeah. And in the audience to see her play the other night were Dan Byrne in cowboy boots and cowboy hat. Although he says there are no pictures of it. I cannot believe.
That's amazing.
Andy Walker, one of the England press team, didn't get a shot of that.
No, that's amazing.
And Harry Kane went as well. Why
not? Nice.
So, anyway, let's find out if our next guest...
You haven't taken your tattoo off yet?
I haven't yet. I've got now... Andy gave me some World Cup tat, and among it was a tattoo... temporary. Well, I hope they're temporary tat, so I can feel it searing into my skin. They're very. It's cheap tat, isn't it? So there we go. So have I got a World Cup tattoo? Let's have a look.
Oh, look at that!
Look at that.
That's pretty neat.
It's a football.
That seems to have made a mark on your skin.
Yeah, it does. Will it ever come off?
Slightly worried.
It's a football flying into the top corner of the net. One for the Turkey fans out there. That's what it looks like. Anyway, Alan Pardew joins us now. Hi, Pods.
Morning, fellas. How are we doing?
I've got a temporary tattoo. Are you a man of tattoos, Alan?
Not really. No, I wasn't expecting you to have a tattoo this morning. If I'm honest either.
I hope it's only temporary anyway. Also, country music, is that your thing? We're playing a bit of Ella Langley now.
Yeah, Ella Langley, that's a good song. Yeah, I quite like country. A bit of a mixture. Don't mind a bit of that.
Yeah.
But obviously, I work with Majestic, didn't I? So I'm more jungle and house, really.
That's very true.
Has he got you into? Has he been taking you to sort of drum and bass festivals and stuff?
Well, I went and see him a couple of times, which was a bit lively for me. But his granddad do it in the room.
Yeah.
But he's top man. So
what about when you were
to Majestic?
When you were managing players, some players have really mad tattoos. Did the other lads take the mickey out of them, or does everybody just accept it?
No, actually, I think it's probably the opposite. There's sort of an admiration of like somebody getting some huge back tattoo, etc., etc. And wow, where'd you get that done, etc. So I think it's more of a kind of one-upmanship a little bit on the old tattoos front. I mean, once one gets them, they will start going down that road.
If someone's prepared to sit there for as long as that in that much pain, or about half a dozen sittings to have a full back done, I mean, that makes them pretty hard.
I remember when Messi had his hamstring done, and then he did suffer from hamstring problems.
That didn't seem like a great idea. Marcelo Bielsa has talked about the hydration breaks, the four quarters syndrome, Alan. He said this: playing four halves instead of two alters the conception that has been culturally constructed to interpret football. It adds nothing and takes away a lot. When it was divided into four, no thought was given to the effect it might have on what made football a sport that captivates people, but rather to another type of repercussions that I neither discuss nor analyse. Before this decision, football had one characteristic. Now it has another. People fall in love with a game because of its characteristics. So a bit of a warning shot to the powers that be that we don't want to see hydration breaks for the rest of our lives.
Yeah, and Belter, obviously he's been around the game and he's a legend in the game. So those words will resonate upstairs, hopefully, a little bit. I mean, let's be honest, these hydration breaks were brought in, firstly, for the players. That was what the initial thought was. But they've been kind of utilised for the advertising now. And this fact that, in air-conditioned stadiums, we're still getting them, is purely Infantino and the USA, getting commercials in. There's no doubt about that. I personally think they shouldn't be there. It stops the flow and the rhythm of a half. As you know, well aware, we're starting to see some trends of teams picking up or losing momentum around that period, which makes sense. I just think common sense always has a problem in raising its head in these situations. I think the referee should have a call, really, maybe instead of a hydration break. If he thinks that everyone's getting too hot, he's starting to see a few struggle, we'll have a hydration break and let that call it in. And that will slip up the advertisers when they won't know when to come in.
The problem is, though, Alan, and you made this point, I've not had anybody else make it, is that now you've done it, it's got to be the same for everyone, because that would mean some coaches in some games have had the opportunity to have 3 minutes in each half with their players to turn it around. And those other coaches that maybe go out, they're going to turn around and say, hang on, why didn't we get hydration break? So there is, once you've established it as an idea, you kind of got to stick to it.
Yeah, but with, some of these ideas and themes that have been stopped in the past, mid sort of tournament, etc. I think he's right on this occasion, though. I think these hydration breaks are really a thing of this particular World Cup. I wouldn't like to see them, and I hope when we come out the other side, there's some sort of study that proves, it's not really what we expect from a football match.
As long as the Premier League don't do it, I'll be fine.
No chance.
Can't see.
Another interesting one. This isn't brand new because we've seen other teams in Europe do this, but some of the kickoffs in this World Cup have become like 40-20s in rugby league. I saw one in America. They put it right in the corner. It was a brilliant kickoff, and it does put the other team immediately on the back
kicking for territory. Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, Declan Rice was it in the Champions League final, just flicked it up and smashed it straight up in the air on the edge of their box. I mean, it's bizarre, really. I remember when I first started coaching, that was kind of a trend to put it in the corners and put it out for a throw-in deep in the opposition half. So obviously you could pressurise them and force them into errors. Now that's really where I think this theme lies. So you start off on a positive front. When you think about it, you smash it down in the opposition's box. They got to get it under control. They got to try and force the situation. All you got to do is win it back. So in a way, you can start on a positive theme. I mean, if you go back to Brazil and Holland, I remember Holland kicked off once, didn't see the ball for 10 minutes against England. So, you know, it's just a little theme that seems to have crept in. I don't like it. I think it's ugly, and I prefer not to see it.
We should talk a bit about Brian Brobby, really, as well, and his performance.
Oh, yeah.
I mean, a brilliant performance in the first goal where he gets the first touch by a hole. I mean, well, he's shown in the Premier League what a handful he is. And he has, as they say, he's got a bit of dog in him as a player. Christian Romero will vouch for that. But, I mean, his runs were good. It was like old school. It was like attacking the space like goals, wasn't it? Getting in those right positions, Alan.
When you've got a technical team like Holland, just someone like him, it's like a massive bonus because he's such a physical presence. I remember, obviously, I had Marlon Harewood at West Ham, and he was like that. He was, you know, bumbling around, smashing into people and causing a bit of havoc. And it does create room. And not only that, I think I thought his performance against Newcastle and Sunderland was a real eye-opener for me. I thought he kind of got confidence from that game and become a bit of a legend at Sunderland. And, you know, he's just grown. I mean, his confidence is sky high. Holland are a real threat, by the way. They've got, you know, got an outstanding team. And he, as you say, I think he's been a real highlight of this tournament.
It's interesting how teams take on the characteristics of their manager. I was watching USA the other night, and they are a typical Poch coach team. If you look at his teams, Southampton, Spurs, Chelsea and USA, they've all started really poorly and they've all got better and better and better. And it is interesting to see, you know, no one had much hope for the USA at the start of Poch's campaign, but now people are talking about them, you know, getting to the quarterfinal, semi-final.
Yeah, I think it's when you look at I would argue perhaps the three best coaches at the tournament, Poch at USA, obviously not his home country. Then you've got Tuchel, the German manager. All of these have been Champions League. Ancelotti at Brazil. You know, these are guns for hire. These are top coaches. And, you know, when they come into a national setup, I think it does take a little bit longer for their themes and their thoughts to get across. Because obviously you haven't got many days to work with a team. I think Poch has been under a little pressure as the USA manager because he just, when you look at his player roster, it doesn't look particularly good. But as you say, he's got them in his theme, their energy. They got the backing of a huge nation, and the players have shown a little bit of confidence, a bit more than I was expecting. I still can't see them having a massive impact in this tournament. I think they'll go out once we reach maybe the second stage of the knockouts. But those three managers are, as we know, top managers.
Got quite an easy run. Somebody was listing who they could possibly play.
So they could make it through the last eight?
Right up to the semi-final. It's not that difficult. It'd be interesting to see how far they can go.
A lot of it could be down to his lucky safari suit, Al. I don't know if you've noticed that. He's worn it for both games now. It's like, it's a sort of blue safari.
I quite like a safari suit myself.
You can carry that off.
Yeah, of course.
Yeah.
You can't have a tattoo and a safari suit, just so you know.
I was about to go down the shop and go, epaulets? Do you like epaulets on your safari suit, or is that not a deal breaker?
Not so keen on that. Not so keen. It's a deal breaker, that one. Yeah.
I think you're like us. You're old enough to remember Stuart Granger. You've got to carry it off with a hat with a big leopard skin band on it, haven't you, really? That's always a good look. So. Alan Pardew is with us. What's it like as a manager if your team has 62 shots and doesn't score a goal and goes home from the World Cup? We'll try and get some insight. And how much homework do you do on a referee? We can tell you a little bit about the referee who will be in charge for England's game against Ghana live on talkSPORT tomorrow. But more from Alan as we look at some of the trends and some of the stories from this World Cup. Keep all your TV formats for Eli Room, the Curaçao hero keeper, coming in. talksport.com, text 81089. Tweet TSH&J, room to swing a cat. Eloy and Kurt Zuma travel around the world, testing the size of hotel rooms, says Aaron in Wakefield. No cats were harmed in the making of that text, we'd like to point out. We'll get the news for you next.
Well, we're talking about Arsenal because the press are talking about Arsenal.
Squeezed Arsenal into a World Cup show.
You're about to hear. Are you Arsenal in disguise? In the Daily Mail. Yeah, we're going there. We're going there.
Who's written that? Is that you? Is that by Laura Cook Francis?
Yes, it is. Yeah, it's my first line in the Daily
well
Mail.
Done. Congratulations.
The Nation joins Gunners fans in praise of Rice's corners.
Oh, come on. This is... Benty and I were out hobnobbing with the Rich and Famous last night, or maybe Rich and Shameless, and we were talking to Piers Morgan.
Okay.
Right?
Yeah.
And he asked the same question about Declan Rice's corners, and I'm like, he's just taking the corner, the fella.
Mate, no.
I love Declan. You know that.
Hey,
but unless you've got Harry Kane running onto it, a corner's only as good as the finish.
No, look at Arsenal been doing all season, and people have criticised us for that.
You just bullied goalkeepers, just smashed goalkeepers out of the way.
That's so right. So the hypocrisy here is loud and clear. In the Daily Mail, which I've just messed up there, they're calling it dark arts in praise of the dark arts that England have employed at corners, which we've been very vocal about.
We're not doing those corners at the World Cup.
Yeah,
Declan's doing outswingers.
Did you see the amount? So do Arsenal.
Yeah, I'm saying, but when it's an in-swing, everyone's smashing into the keeper. These are outswings. Harry Kane's running onto them.
Now, all the blocks, I saw the blocks the other night, England.
Yeah, so just to be clear, corner's good, but corner's not good when Arsenal do it. In-swing are good, outswing are bad.
Unless Harry Kane's on the end.
Okay, so safe to say, according to you, and I think I speak on behalf of Arsenal Nation here, I'm not allowing you to enjoy us having corners, if that's all right. So as far as you're concerned, it was 3-2.
I'll speak on
right?
the rest of the nation,
Please
right? And I don't like your attitude.
I love it.
Yeah, I the hypocrisy.
No, here's what's going to happen. Yep. So you, of course, won't remember, and neither will I. But in 1966, when England won the World Cup, right? Jeff Hurst scored 3 and Martin Peters scored the other one. And
iconic. There's no other word. An 18-carat gold trophy that owns the world, and it waits. It waits for 4 years. It's 1971, and FIFA need a new trophy to replace the Jules Rimet, so they launch a worldwide design competition. And in his studio in Milan, 50-year-old sculptor Silvio Gazzaniga immediately gets to work. But instead of sending FIFA a picture, he goes further and makes a prototype they can hold. It works. FIFA choose his design over 52 others, and perhaps the most beautiful piece of silverware or goldenware enters the beautiful game. Let's let the artist himself describe it. Gazzaniga said the idea was to create something symbolising exertion, dynamism, and the jubilation of an athlete in the moment of victory, with all the joy that contains. The malachite rings in the base fitted the sculpture well because it's green like a football field, and it's also a precious stone. The first captain to lift the trophy was Franz Beckenbauer in 1974, and of course, it's only the greatest who get their hands on it. Zoff, Matthias paved the way for the modern-day heroes who dreamt of lifting Gazzaniga's masterpiece. But there was something about this man holding it that seemed to deliver everything the sculptor had imagined. Were I to ever redo it, the artist once said, I wouldn't change a thing.
Yes, good morning. It is Paul Hawksbee and Andy Jacobs here on talkSPORT. Alan Pardew is with us, and we're looking at some of the stories from the World Cup so far. We know the referee is going to be for England-Ghana tomorrow night, Alan. He's Honduran. Said Martinez, as his name. He is known as El Matematico because he's a maths whiz. I don't know quite what that brings to the table. He
draws his own lines for the offside.
Probably, yeah. He's been a top flight. He works. He's got goes out with a compass. Top flight manager since he was 18 in Honduras, which is pretty impressive.
Yeah.
He's given out 3 yellow cards, which is below the average of the tournament so far. I just wondered, as a manager, how much work you do on refs, Al. Do you kind of say, look, you know what X is like? He does love a yellow card. Just be careful in the first 10 minutes. Is there a bit of that goes on?
Yeah, as we sort of know at talkSPORT, you have the geeky analysts in the background who look at all that stuff. So my analyst would come up to me and say, "Oh, by the way, the referee is so-and-so. Yeah, 3 yellow cards. Da, 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 da." So do we do some checks on the referees? Yes, we do. Particularly trends on penalties, I think is quite important. And obviously cards. They're probably the 2 biggest factors. Sometimes you get a general feel in the dressing room when players have had a particular referee before. Oh no, I can't stand him, blah, blah, blah. Their relationship isn't the greatest. So that's sometimes a theme as well.
Do you like that high threshold the refs seem to have in this?
Yeah, have you noticed? I mean, we've noticed that. I mean, to Scotland's cost the other night, but they do seem quite reluctant to give penalties, don't they?
Yeah, I think we prefer it that way, wouldn't we, than the other way? Start giving us really light penalties and then going to VAR all the time. I actually think VAR has been used very well so far. I mean, I hate to say it because obviously we're going to get to the knockout stages and someone will probably really suffer. But at the moment, VAR's had a back seat, which I think is really good. And it might be that fact that that threshold is being kept very, very high. I quite like it.
No, it has been. Look, I guess we have to recap again. We've had another sort of busy weekend with some interesting results. It has been good so far. I think we had a few concerns going in, as we said to you last week, though, when we were chatting. That
the football's been much more attacking than I thought it would be.
It has been, isn't it? We've not had a lot considering the heat in some of the stadiums. We've had decent pace games. It's been good.
Yeah, I think they've stumbled on something here because that 3rd place definitely is give let's say the weaker sides a real goal to go and attack a game, because obviously if you get 1 win like Scotland did, you got a chance of qualifying, and Scott's still got a great chance even if they lose to Brazil. So I think that definitely has played a part. I thought a lot of the games would be staid, boring draws, but it's been quite the opposite, and that might be the factor. But as we know, what's been great about this World Cup so far is we've had some names that we don't normally recognise with grabbing the headlines of World Cups, but the big guns are still coming. And we've got in the next few days got a Messi, Co will be back.
It's true. Substitutes have been a big factor in this World Cup.
Wow.
Somebody like Dennis Under, and we're going to talk about him later. But Germany, they were in trouble in that game. And in the end, Ivory Coast, a dinger at the end, he should have scored.
You made the point last week, Alan, that no one wants to be a finisher, but it seems that that's how some players are seen as being the most effective.
Yeah, and I think this big question mark over Ronaldo, will he end up being a finisher for them? I think that's a big question mark because obviously his first performance was not the standard we would expect. And all the stats they have used, particularly in Portuguese media, will put them under huge pressure. But it is a factor. When you think about particularly the big nations, their benches are as strong as their first team. And in some cases there's a better flavour on there. So using it. When you look at Thomas's team, he could like Rodgers, for example. He could be our big finisher, whereas, in any other country, he would definitely be a starter.
That would be a big call for Roberto Martinez to make if he was going to put Ronaldo. But having said that, he's going anyway. So let someone else pick up the pieces.
But it's very interesting. The Messi-Ronaldo debate that's gone on for so long. But there's a bloke on X who just all he does is find examples of Cristiano Ronaldo being incredibly selfish. And blimey, is he a selfish player? He is. I know he's a wonderful player, but there are things like, there's one great one when he's playing for Real Madrid. The ball's crossed. It was going to him and he would have scored, but somebody else came in and put it in. And he's really annoyed about it. He's really angry. And you think, oh, come on, mate, it's a team game.
Well, how do you look at that, Alan? Do you look at it as a manager that he's hungry and he wants to score goals, or he's not a good team man?
Well, you're an example. I remember nicking him for Palace once and getting a guy in front of Wrighty. And let me tell you, he weren't best pleased either. He certainly gave me a bit of South London I've not heard for a long time. It does happen. I mean, Ronaldo is just so, I think we all know, singularly focused, isn't he, on his goals and his stats and his career and his all the trophies that he's won, the Ballon d'Or, etc. Whereas Messi has got so much more of a laid-back approach. I mean, I have seen Messi on a number of occasions at Barcelona, when players have been completely free for a tap-in, still play people on.
Yeah.
So I'm sure, you could argue that there's a few of his ex-teammates who have thought, well, he's a bit greedy. He could have released and got me load more goals. So I kind of look at that with it, with just the particularly personalities that they are, and that's what's brilliant at World Cups. It throws up not just the personalities that we know, but new ones, particularly this goalkeeper who's been outstanding, hasn't he?
The room has been sense, and that's right. Vecino, that's right. And now spare a thought. I'm sure you do as a member of the Managers Union for Vincenzo Montella, who, as the Turkey manager, who had a good team of good players, sent them out. They've lost 2 games. They've had 62 shots in 2 games and not scored a goal. I mean, as a manager, what more can you do, really?
Oh, it's so frustrating. Many games, I've come off and the stats have just been like, how have we not won? You just can't quite work it out. But you do have those days. And unfortunately, if you have 2 of those days back to back in these sort of tournaments, you're out. So it's a bit unfortunate. Creating chances and taking them is very much not in the manager's playbook. You're really resting on the players, and that's where you need calm heads. I mean, obviously you can influence their mood and their and take some tension off them, particularly goal scorers. And that's all you can do. Otherwise, you send them out there and hope for the best.
Yeah, absolutely. And it's backfired on them. Just finally, we want to play you a clip from Ollie Watkins. He was chatting to the media ahead of the Ghana game, which we've got for you on talkSPORT tomorrow. And he was defending Jeremy Doku's decision to plan a leave of absence from the Belgian camp to be with his wife when she gives birth to their first child.
Someone labelled it disgusting. And I think, for a start, that's not a way to label a birth. Obviously, I've seen what my wife had to go through in birth, and that was quite smooth sailing. But I know family members and friends that, haven't had it that way. Like he said, it only happens once. Your first child, welcoming them to the world is a blessing, and you don't get that opportunity. There's a lot of times where you're away from family and friends during the season, and it's very difficult periods. So to miss that would be tough, and I see where he's coming from. I think he has all right to go back and be there.
The French television presenter has subsequently apologised for that disgusting comment. But Alan, what's been your take on this?
Well, I thought Ollie spoke very well there. I mean, that's exactly my thoughts on it. I mean, when you are with a football team, you are like a family anyway. So, when there's a birth coming, or indeed the other side of the scale, when you have a death, etc., that the unit comes together. I mean, the dressing room. And I don't think there'll be any player or any staff member in that camp that wouldn't want to see Doku go home and be with his wife on that important day. I don't think if you are interviewed any footballer in probably any nation, I think that's what the answer you're going to get.
It isn't the point, but it could be a moot point because the way Belgium are going at the moment, he may be able to go home because it's a couple of weeks' time, isn't it?
They really missed him in that game, yes.
They did. I mean, Lukaku...
He's an outstanding footballer, isn't he? Let's be honest. I mean, as a wide player, he's probably the number one. When maybe Yamal, that can take people on. He literally can stand you up and leave you for dead. He's brilliant. But as I say, his family will 100% come first, and I think the whole football community should get behind that.
Absolutely. I mean, look, he would have given more service to Lukaku. I'm not altogether sure Lukaku would have scored. I mean, the guy's played hardly any football. Man, does it show so far?
You compare to what he looks like now to what he looked like when Conte had him, and he was really super fit.
Just off it, just that kind of half a yard, those things that make you elite.
Half a stone off it.
Yeah, he's half a stone off it. No, he just doesn't look the same player, Alan, does he?
No, you get that. That comes from not playing at that level. When you talk about, having reserve games or training as hard, you see a lot of these videos when players are out of contract training on their own. I mean, it just cannot replicate you to any kind of form to come back and play at that level. And unfortunately, he's suffering from that.
Well, good to talk to you again. We'll catch up with you later in the tournament. All the best, Alan. Thanks very much.
Thanks, Alan.
Cheers, guys. Thanks very much. Bye-bye.
Alan Pardew there. Our thanks to him. Back with Madge, I'm sure, at the weekend. And he'll be popping up throughout the tournament, chatting to us. Just to let you know, the latest episode of the World Cup Daily podcast available now. Natalie Sawyer, Joe Shannon, Mark McGee from the busy streets of Miami. It sounds like they're detectives. They've got 24 hours to bust the case. They look back on Spain's second coming. Oh, right. Saudi Arabia. It's all calmed down.
Yeah.
Talk of Harry Kane, more Messi magic. Mark shares a brilliant story about the very first time he saw a young Cristiano Ronaldo in action. So if you want to hear more, tune in to the latest episode of the talkSPORT World Cup Daily podcast, available now on your favourite podcast platform. We will unveil our Duracell players that went the extra mile. Mark Butcher will join us, a man who loves his football, but he's here to talk cricket, the former England batsman, and what's going on behind the scenes after a turbulent couple of weeks and a defeat to New Zealand in that second test. We're here with Selco Builders Warehouse. Check out this month's real deals at Selco. Check out this month's real deals at selcobw.com. Bring Jim back to shouting.
Talking about Jude Bellingham, because of his talent, because of his ability, Kyle, he's often the focus of attention, isn't he? I mean, tell us, you've been in the same dressing room as him. What's he like as a person?
No, he's good, and I think he carries a lot of weight on his shoulders for such a young boy. I think people probably forget how young he is. Obviously, he's gone on from leaps and bounds from Birmingham City to Dortmund to now playing for, one of, if not the biggest clubs in the world. But I was saying it before, I think Morgan Rogers is a great player. I played with him at City. He's done unbelievable for Villa. But I just think in them moments, Jude Bellingham probably pips him just because of the big game moments, and last night proved that.
Yeah.
How good is he? Because you've been in training with him, you played with him. Because when we watch him, I just see someone who can score left foot, right foot. I see someone who can get box to box, good in the air. Looks like a complete player.
Yeah, I think, he's an all-rounder. He can tackle, he can defend, he can attack, he scores goals. As you just said, left, right foot, he's got an engine on him. Is he a silky number 10 that we're probably used to seeing in the Premier League? Probably not. He's more of a powerhouse, but, in these conditions that they're playing the World Cup in like this, it could work to our advantage with having him, Declan and, Anderson, that all have good engines on them and then can get up and down the pitch.
Does it ever get to him, the sort of criticism that he gets, the media attention that he gets?
I think probably it does. I think probably it does some way, but I don't think you can let it get to you. I think when you're a big football player like that with a name that you've got, obviously you're going to hear and you're going to see. People are going to tell you what people are saying, but you have to take that pressure. You're Jude Bellingham. You're Jude Bellingham, and you've got that pressure on your shoulder. You're playing for Real Madrid and also representing England in the number 10 jersey, so you've got to deal with it.
We've seen a few months ago, there were journalists saying that he shouldn't be involved because there was reports that Jude Bellingham makes the older players, they're scared to play because he's so much of a character. And I was like, surely, Walks, you're a senior player. Jude Bellingham.
Hello, I'm Matt Fordham from talkSPORT. This is How to Win the World Cup.
This is the best squad I think England have ever had.
He used to love America, now he doesn't. It's very sad.
It was so important to succeed because of all the pressure we received.
Don't jump for this one, I'm going to knock his head off.
Warning, this podcast does not guarantee England will actually win anything.
Time now for Duracell's Extra Mile, where we pick players who we think went the extra mile this weekend. Those players that bring a game-changing performance and unstoppable power. Well, we mentioned him to Alan Pardew just now in passing. And you've got to put Dennis Undav in there, haven't you, really?
Tremendous.
Yeah.
I mean, one of those players that seems to be so effective off the bench. And he's come on a lot since he was at Leicester.
Yeah, and Brighton for a while as well, wasn't he? Yeah. Sorry?
No, I'm thinking, did he play for Leicester? I'm going, man, no, he did, didn't he?
Yeah, I think he wasn't he there? He was at Leicester and he went to Brighton, didn't he? Yeah. He's been playing in Germany for a while now. The thing was, Nagelsmann has already told him that he is going to be a finisher. We're just chatting to Alan about that. And he feels that's his most effective route. But the finishing was fantastic, wasn't it?
It was.
Yeah.
Really.
And it's a big goal for them because they were up against it a bit, weren't they?
They've not really impressed too much, have they, Germany? I mean, they did win 7-1 in their first game, but they weren't great in the first half, and they look a bit vulnerable, but we'll see.
Yeah. And, our old mate Eloy Room, the Curaçao keeper, who was just sensational. 37. It was a great World Cup for old keeper. We should get an old keeper on at some point during this tournament, certainly.
There were some great saves in there. Absolutely brilliant reactions.
He wasn't at Leicester, Andy. I don't know what made you think he was at.
Yeah.
You had a little
I think
brain freeze.
Yeah, brain freeze. There's another player I'm thinking of with a similar name.
Yeah.
No.
Okay. It wasn't Jamie Vardy, was it?
No.
Okay. 37-year-old kid, 15 saves, and you've come up with some fantastic form.
Cengiz Under.
Oh, yeah. Okay.
That's who it was. Undav.
But their new chat show is really good. No room at the inn. Eloy Room reviews the worst-rated hotels and decides where to spend the night, says Steve in Newcastle. What else we got here? Eloy Room does an SOS-style programme called Room for Improvement. Richard in Exeter. He could make some money on the side with these. Bit Route 1, but Eloy Room gives his opinion on the day's news events. Room with a view. Nice one, Jamie. Yeah, nothing wrong with Route 1 in telly. I'll tell you that. Elon tries to break the sound barrier in 3 different aeroplanes. It's boom, boom, boom with Eloy Room. Thank you, Tony. And this, finally, Ben in Bath, who's kind of pitching this to ITV. Room service featuring Eloy Room in a Cape Verde hotel.
Yeah.
I'm surprised he hasn't sent some mood boards into it. Eloy has to use his large goalkeeping hands as a serving tray to fit on as many items as possible as ordered by a guest in the hotel room.
Good idea.
You're all right, Ben. Can Eloy make it around the hotel without dropping anything whilst trying to avoid the many obstacles in his way, such as cleaners pushing trolleys of bedding along corridors and hurried businessmen rushing out of lifts late for their meetings?
Hasn't he?
Oh, yeah, what a show we've got here. Can Eloy deliver the ultimate room service? Find out tonight on ITV1 at 9 o'clock. Ben, thank you. So we've chosen Eloy for his exploits between the posts, Dennis Undav for turning that game around for Germany the other day. They were our Duracell's Extra Mile players today.
Duracell's Extra Mile on talkSPORT. Different, better, unstoppable.
Yeah, terrible couple of weeks for England cricket on and off the field. Michael Vaughan writing in the Telegraph today, the former England captain, feeling that it has led to what he could see as a pretty irretrievable situation between Brendan McCullum, the coach, and his skipper, Ben Stokes. Let's have a chat now with a man who loves his football. We may touch on the World Cup if we have time. Former England batsman Mark Butcher. Hi, Butch.
G'day, gents. How are you?
Good, thank you. I mean, there was a point a couple of weeks ago when all that story broke about the club after the curfew that Ben Stokes might call it a day. He's obviously upset at what's gone on and the reaction to it, because we now know that he was completely the innocent party and didn't even witness it, him and Gus Atkinson. So, it's been a weird one from his. There is a way back for him to play, but what about his relationship with Brendan McCullum?
I'd be very surprised if he isn't leading the side. On Thursday at Trent Bridge with the series at 1-1, it didn't go particularly well for England or Joe Root in his absence. That relationship is a curious one, isn't it? They seemed absolutely inseparable in terms of as a friendship, let alone a partnership. In the very first place, from 22 onwards, up until sort of the Ashes, where there seemed to be a little bit of a parting of the ways in terms of the way they thought that they should be going about playing the game. And now, over the last, where are we now? It's coming up to 2 weeks, I guess. The messages around Ben's sort of well-being and mental health, which we've since found out that there was nothing wrong with Ben. I mean, he's playing for Durham, or he was playing for Durham until he was drawn out of that game over the weekend to play in the Test match. So there are lots of threads that need tying together before we get a full picture of exactly what has been going on.
For me, I've got this feeling that they're falling between two stools, between baseball and proper Test cricket, and they're not doing either at the moment. And they're not, are they? Some of the batting was, fiddle about for a bit, not really Tavare, but not really going for it either, and then you get out. And I do wonder also with McCullum how much coaching he actually does. I mean, for example, this problem that Root and Brook have got about keeper standing up to them, when they're batting. I mean, Brooks. There's a 20-run difference in his average between when the keeper stands up and when the keeper doesn't. And you think, isn't that the coach's job to try and work out a way for them to get round this?
Well, yeah. Brendan has never considered himself to be sort of a technical coach, so that wouldn't be part of his remit, really. He's got Marcus Trescothick there as batting coach, specialist sort of batting coach. He's got Tim Southey there, a specialist bowling coach, and you might say, well, surely part of the head coach's job is to kind of to help out with those types of things. But also, you're talking about two fabulous players, and who would be able to come up with a solution to this problem on their own. Let's not underplay just how damn good New Zealand were last week against an England team that had. Two guys are only playing their second Test match, two debutants, five players out of the 11 that won the first Test at Lords were missing. And so therefore, in terms of experience and in terms of quality, New Zealand were kind of, even on paper, were stronger than England over that course of time. So I want to give the opposition due credit. But of course, it is not very helpful to England's cause after the disasters of the Ashes, to then come back and find yourself in a position where you're not being able to field your strongest team against a very, very good New Zealand side, when you're desperately in need of winning pretty much every game in order to keep the vultures off your back. And the vultures are on your back because of things that have happened off the field and not on the field.
Whose decision would it have been, though, to bat second on that pitch, which was a bit of an odd decision, and to go into it with no spinner at all, which, again, very strange decision?
Yeah, I mean, they had when I saw the squad, obviously, with all of the comings and goings, Atkinson, Stokes being suspended, Jamie Smith missing out the last second because of the birth of his daughter, Ollie Robinson with the knee injury. I looked at the squad that they were left with and thought, OK, pitches at the Oval have been very flat, or at least Surrey have struggled to take wickets on it. A very good opportunity to play Rayan Ahmed, an all-rounder. Swap an all-rounder in Stokes for an all-rounder in Rayan Ahmed, albeit a spin bowling one. So I would have had him at 7 and played one of either Rue or Cox. They're both wicket-keeper batters. Either or, one or the other could have done that job at number 6, and then your 4 quicks. They were left in a little bit of a quandary because having to replace not only 3/4 of your fast bowling attack for the Test match, and for one of them to be your world class all rounder, left them with not too many places to go. I kind of understood they made the decision they made. They wanted to make the batting lineup as long as possible, and also had England not had the biggest, the worst hour and a half I can remember seeing from them since
since the summer, since Australia,
since Perth. They could very reasonably have expected to have kept New Zealand to 300 in their first innings, and then the game is on. The decision is justified.
Yeah, Butch, we're out of time, unfortunately, but good to talk to you. We'll catch up with you hopefully later in the World Cup and have a football chat. Thanks for joining us.
Can't wait.
There we are. There's Mark Butcher there, former England batsman. As Butcher, it gets underway again at Trent Bridge on Thursday. We will be there, of course, keep you updated. And it will be on the Cricket YouTube channel for our overseas viewers and listeners. John Pienaar's going to pop in and see us from Times Radio. There's been a big story in the world of politics, of course, today. And we'll get all the weather conditions ahead of tonight's games and the early morning games with John Ketley, the man himself. That's all to come.
I've got to speak to you about England then. Obviously, of course, the result the other day. Really good second half performance. First and foremost, what did you make of the performance? And some people are saying it's the best half of football they've seen England play in years.
Well, what I was really impressed with, there's two things. The turnaround in the second half, and you saw Harry Kane, Declan Rice and Jude Bellingham all come out speaking glowingly about the manager's team talk at half-time. So that's an absolute massive, massive, massive plus, because a manager that's very aggressive, he's punchy, and he ain't going to go out trying to stay in a game. He's going to go out trying to win a game. And if it doesn't happen, he ain't going to be for the want of trying. And the second thing is, he's aggressive substitutions and really decisive substitutions in the second half late on, where normally you see a lot of managers go, we're going to protect this lead. He's saying, no, I've got my foot on their throat and we're going to finish them off. And I love that. And if that's going to be the way we go about this tournament, we're going to have a good time.
I totally agree with you. I said that, actually. Do you think that's the difference between what Southgate would have done and maybe bring on like a Calvin Phillips, a holder, to make sure we didn't lose the game?
Yeah, Southgate and a lot of other managers have done that. And I think that was probably when you're looking back now, it's a great thing having hindsight, but our Achilles heel probably, even though we've got further than any team since '66 in these last couple of tournaments, we still were playing at times, it felt, with the shackles on or the handbrake half up in the critical moments, in the biggest moments for England in these big games. And so with that comes kind of apprehension and a bit of anxiousness when you're watching those games, right? And Benty, you've been in them England squads, yeah? A lot of the guys in them teams, and as a unit, as a team, as well as individuals, we were scared to lose games.
Talk Sport.
The headlines at 4 minutes past 11. I'm Tom Clayton. Good morning. TalkSport's been told the world has underestimated Cape Verde as they've made it 2 draws from 2. That 2-2 draw with Uruguay means a win against Saudi Arabia guarantees them at least second in Group H. Superfan Gilson Nunes reckons it's proof that FIFA were right to expand the tournament.
People that were skeptic about having more teams, they thought it will be games will be it's not a good game, but FIFA proved it wrong. Been a good game. It's been a lot of excitement.
Second, because Spain will likely top the group. A 4-0 win over Saudi Arabia puts them on track to do just that. But Pep Clotet's told us there's one thing that puts them at a disadvantage this tournament.
I think Spain still miss a proper goal scorer
with quality and with consistency. You know, I see England, Argentina, France a little step ahead.
Coming up later on, Argentina face Austria at 6, then it's France v Iraq at 10. Now there's growing support for Jeremy Doku, who's left the Belgium camp for the birth of his first child. Ollie Watkins is one of those backing him.
It only happens once. You know, your first child, welcoming them to the world is a blessing, and you don't get that opportunity.
This, as a French TV host called it disgusting. She's since apologised. And Carlo Ancelotti says Neymar will be fit to face Scotland on Wednesday. The Scots need a point or to avoid a heavy defeat to go through to the knockouts. It's live on talkSPORT.
talkSPORT News.
So Keir Starmer's announced he's resigning as Prime Minister. He says he will stay on until his replacement as Labour leader has been found. That could be Andy Burnham, who's being sworn in as Makerfield MP today. For full analysis on this story, head to Times Radio. We've also got John Pienaar coming up shortly. Emma has more news at past.
talkSPORT weather with QuickFit. Heat wave outside, oven inside. Stay cool this summer with a free aircon check. Book online or visit your local QuickFit today.
Increasingly hot and humid in the southeast, where the best of the sunshine is. Elsewhere, cloudy with a few areas of showery rain, particularly in the north and in Scotland.
Hello, I'm Matt Forden from talkSPORT. This is How to Win the World Cup.
This is the best squad I think England have ever had.
He used to love America, now he doesn't. It's very sad.
It was so important.
Good morning, it's Paul Hawksbee and Andy Jacobs here on talkSPORT. Before we get back into the football, it's been a pretty seismic day. Politically, Keir Starmer set a timetable for him to step down as Prime Minister, hand over to the man everyone thinks will take over, Andy Burnham. A bit of news, breaking news on him in a few moments' time. So what does it mean for the country and for you? John Pienaar from Times Radio Drivers kindly popped in to see us. Hello, John.
Hi, guys.
So it's just been confirmed that Andy Burnham has said he will definitely be running.
Yeah, we'll call that the least surprising news.
We're saying, what if he'd done a Boris and stood up and said, that person will not, I will not be doing it?
That really would be a story, wouldn't it?
Yeah. Is there a danger that they're making the same mistake as the Tories? I mean, we went through all this with Truss and Sunak and Johnson out, and this, the public get quite disillusioned at this sort of thing.
Yeah, I think there is. I think there's a slice of the public that gets, first of all, fed up with parties that go to war with themselves. And goodness knows we've seen a lot of prime ministers come and go. And now we're going to see what goes on with Burnham, won't we? Look, my strong guess is that there'll be a bounce. He does a lot of things pretty well that Keir Starmer did really rather badly. Reaching out to people and stirring people up, convincing them this is what we're for, join me, and all that sort of thing. And Burnham can do a better job of that. And for that and other reasons, I think he'll get a bounce. I'd also put it, the bounce may not last very long.
Yeah.
Because he's inheriting, isn't he? He's inheriting a country where people aren't very much in love with politics generally, and they don't like incumbents very much either. And they look for reasons to give the incumbent government a bit of a kicking. And so Burnham, he's going to have a bit of time to sort of not fly, but a little bit of a period of something like grace. And then he's going to have to really earn it.
Who else will run, John, do you think? Do you think Wes Streeting will? There's been some talk about Angela Rayner as well. How many people will start the break cover, won't they?
OK, we've got to wait and see, because I can't say I know or anyone else knows. Well, one or two other people do know. My guess is no one. I think Burnham will have the clear run that he desperately wants. The word is that he's got getting on for 200 MPs ready to put their name out as wanting to support him, which means, who else can get the 81 names for a challenge? I'm not sure that I see that. And then he's going to get what he wants, which is to get a clear glide path into the leadership. I did think Starmer's speech actually was actually quite important. It was actually really rather impressive. I thought he did well things that he's done so badly for so very long. And it was the last speech in the content and the facts of it that he ever wanted to give. But he said the right things. It was written down for him, he wrote it, and he delivered it pretty well, right down to the emotional bit at the end, which was actually quite touching, because I got the sort of sense that he didn't want to look emotional. And the best bursts of emotion are ones where you look like you're trying to hold it in,
Yeah.
not when you're trying to perform it.
Sure.
And you're talking about your wife and your kids and so on. So people could get that. And there was a bit of sympathy for Keir Starmer. And you bet when he shows up in the House of Commons a bit later on, he'll be cheered on like Harry Kane scoring the winner. I tell you, Labour people, Labour MPs, they love their leader when they're gone.
Yeah.
Especially when they push them over the cliff.
Houses of Parliament, and today Andy Burnham will be there. He's being sworn in as an MP. So, I mean, he did achieve some very good things as Metro Mayor of Manchester, but at the moment, it's all vibes, isn't it? I mean, when we're going to get some meat on the bones, John, we're going to find out about
Brendan McCullum situation.
Well, the way he would lead.
And that is the question, which I think everybody is going to be asking now and loudly. Because what have we seen of Andy Burnham? You're right, running Manchester is not like running the country. You've got a couple of billion in the bank and not 1.5 trillion. And you've got to manage a British economy in the middle of a really difficult global economy. And you've got services. Yes, there's been improvement. I mean, give Starmer and Labour credit for that. There's so much more to go. And a lot of what we see, the British public, they're not massively impressed by.
Yeah.
So much more can and so much more will go wrong.
Now, as all your political research, I'm sure you've been spending a lot of time on X and Google looking at Pierre Sarge, the new Crystal Palace manager. So, what, are you pleased with the signing from what you've
I'm
seen?
more than pleased. I'm excited. I think Palace are lucky and beautifully judged on the part of Steve Parish to get Pierre Sarge in.
Yeah.
Look, we all know what he did in France with Lens, to go from bottom of the table to second of the table to get the French Cup and to play in much the same way, apparently, as Ollie Glasner likes to play. We're going to lose some good players, but Sarge, I guess, is going to get a good say in what it goes to, and I think we're going to have a good team. It's going to be given good instructions with a good manager, and our first game is away to Everton, our massive bogey, and our second game is home to Man City. So I may not be laughing at the beginning of the season.
Are you enjoying the World Cup finally, John? It's been pretty good so far.
I'm utterly loving it. I think it couldn't go better if it was scripted, could it? I mean, we've got the Minnows performing well against the Giants at this stage, and who doesn't love that?
Yeah.
I think the next chapter is going to be much more by the form book. It would be weird if it wasn't, but I think we're going to see some Minnows still in this game. In England, well, you couldn't ask for more than we've seen so far.
Yeah, very enjoyable.
You'll be up at 4.
Well, I may or may not be up at 4.
Okay.
I wake up at 4.
Oh, okay. On Times Radio, I mean, this afternoon. Yeah.
Oh, yeah. I'll be on. Oh, yes. Well, I thought you were talking football.
Oh, yeah.
My show's on at 4, and it's going to be a busy one.
Yeah, of course it is. I mean, we've got a good few hours till then. You kind of sense a lot's going to be going on between now and then.
So much.
So, John's up at 4. Times Radio Drive. Listen for free on DAB, smart speaker, or visit the Times Radio app. John, thanks for popping in. Appreciate it. It's John Pienaar there from Times Radio. But what about the weather, you cry? For this evening's games.
Oh, yes.
Let's find out more now with our very good friends at QuickFit.
US football forecast on talkSPORT with QuickFit. The fresh legs your car needs to go all the way this summer. QuickFit. Drive away happy every time.
Legendary weatherman John Ketley is back. Good afternoon, John.
Good afternoon, lads. Good afternoon.
Yeah.
Good.
So
British weather forecasting.
Yeah, I mean, it's going to be. I mean, we're going to be hotter than wherever Dallas, aren't we? Over the next few days, we're in for a hot one, John, aren't we? This week.
Yeah, we are. It's sizzling, really. It's going to be record-breaking June temperatures. Let's not forget that we did get 40 degrees on the 19th of July 4 years ago, so we're not quite reaching that sort of level. But it will be record heat for June. The record so far is way back in 1976. 35.9 in Southampton. We'll smash that next 2 or 3 days. Not today, but next 2 or 3 days there will be 37, 38 across parts of southern Britain and more likely central southern England and into the home counties. That's the place you're going to see the very, very hot weather. But it isn't the same everywhere. It rarely is. It's still raining in parts of western Scotland this morning. And that rain's gradually nudging away, and it is going to get warmer from the south. But then there could be some more showers, even some rumbles of thunder for later on tonight and first thing tomorrow across central and eastern parts of England. So it isn't wall-to-wall hot sunshine just yet, but it's going that way.
So what about Dallas this evening, 6 o'clock our time, when Argentina play Austria?
Yeah, things have quietened down a bit over in the States, in central parts. There's been a lot of flooding, of course, over the central plains and up in the Midwest. And there are more storms now coming through to the north of Dallas. I think Dallas is going to be okay, around about low 30s, and probably staying dry today. But I'm looking on the radar here, and I can see some torrential rainfall just to the north over Oklahoma City, across Little Rock, and northeastwards up towards Lake Erie up in Canada there. Now, that band of heavy rain is gradually nudging northeastwards, so it's going to be affecting other parts to the northeast later on today and into tonight and first part of tomorrow. So that will bring heavy rain for the match which France are playing in Philadelphia.
Yeah.
Some heavy rain going that way today. But I think, have they got a roof at Philadelphia? I can't recall.
Not
sure.
I think so, but we haven't had the disruption we had in last summer's World Cup.
There was a game in Houston the other day where the crowd was told, I think, to stay behind because there was sort of lightning strikes in the area, but not during the
That's right, and that's the sort of thing that's going to happen again and again in the next 2 or 3, 4 weeks, obviously. We've got that issue as well as everything else. So there are more storms to come, very, very bad across the Central Plains today and the Midwest. And as I say, it's moving northeastward. So there will be some heavy rain pushing in through Philadelphia, and it's also going into Boston as well. Now, I think that rain, the heavy rain, will have cleared for the match tomorrow night. So things will improve there.
Yeah. What about New York, New Jersey Stadium for Norway, Senegal?
Yeah, I think New York, very, very close to the wet weather coming in, yeah. That heavy band of rain is not going to be moving very quickly. So there is, I think, noteworthy rain to come in the next 24 hours. And then later in the week, although things are calming down behind this band of storms, I think we are going to get some more big storms and tornadoes possibly across the Midwest during the second part of this week. And also Miami. Now, we could see some more heavy showers. It's been fairly quiet in Miami. Scotland are playing there later in the week, and there could be some more heavy downpours than 32 degrees there.
Nice one, John. Thanks. We'll catch up with you soon.
John.
Yeah, thank you.
John Catley there,
Didn't ask him
weatherman.
about Craig Bellamy for Burnley.
Oh, we'll do that. We'll have a chance tomorrow, I'm sure. We're pressed for time. That was talkSPORT's weather update, all thanks to QuickFit. Drive away happy every time.
US football forecast on talkSPORT with QuickFit, a team selection that everyone would be happy with this summer. QuickFit, drive away happy every time.
Rugby's very own Chris Ashton joins us for a chat in a few moments' time. We're here with Selco Builders Warehouse. It's where the trade go.
Now, earlier in the show, we asked the all-important question. Who was faster in their pomp? Kyle Walker or Gabby Bonlahor? Well, talkSPORT's Anil Kandala was at the talkSPORT fan zone at Villa Park last night for England against Croatia, and he put that question to some of the fans in attendance.
It's a tough call, but I'd go for Gabby. He was awesome, and no defender wants anybody with that pace running at them. So I'd go for Gabby. I would.
Quicker than Kyle Walker?
I think so. Yeah, I do. And I'm sure Gabby would agree with me.
Gabby. Well, he used to dart across the field, didn't he? I think he's better than Kyle, to be honest.
Well, we had Kyle on loan for us for many years ago, and he was quick, but Gabby was quicker.
And there you go. It might be a little bit unfair because Gabby Bonlahor is in that building behind me, but it seems that Gabby's got the vote.
Right,
yeah. The rest of the world.
He actually spoke to about 100 people who were there, but we only decided to show 3, okay?
I clipped that up for them.
Yeah.
Do you know what, though? When I think about Kyle, when I go back to that game, Kyle, of like, I think it might be Germany at Wembley, and you was right side of the 3, but like you was all the way in the right back position, and I was at the game, mate, and you come sprinting across, mate. Someone was through on goal. I can't remember who it was.
Muller.
It was Muller, yeah. I'm like, where has this guy come from? And you've done that for the last 15, 16 years, mate. Your centre-half pairings with England and Manchester City must have been looking at you thinking like, okay, maybe I can leave a bit of space in behind, because you would always just come out of nowhere and cover.
Yeah, I think that was what my game was based on. You know, I probably didn't create that much going forward with assists and stuff. I chipped in with a few, but not as much as probably what I should have done. So my main game when I got a little bit older was to make sure I can cover the back.
Incredible. Hello, I'm Matt Forden from talkSPORT. This is How to Win the World Cup.
This is the best squad I think England have ever had.
He used to love America, now he doesn't. It's very sad.
It was so important to succeed because of all the pressure we received.
Don't jump for this one, I'm going to knock his head off.
Warning, this podcast does not guarantee England will actually win anything.
Gallagher Prem Review on talkSPORT with Funding Circle. Business finance that backs you. Find out more at fundingcircle.com.
Let's look back on the Gallagher Premiership final with Funding Circle joining us now. It was his old club that were victorious, Northampton Saints, beating Exeter Chiefs 26-17 in some hot conditions. Chris Ashton, the former England winger, joins us. Hello, Chris.
Good morning.
Oh, sorry, I work in different hours. I'm throwing in the odd good afternoon.
Oh, fair enough. Nearly.
Yeah. The ball was like a bar of soap at times, not with rain, but with sweat, wasn't it?
Yeah, it was a humid day. You could tell. Well, that's the issue that we have now playing mid-June. You're always going to get those kind of conditions, but it was particularly humid on Saturday. You could tell by the lads. You have all the want and the will in the world, but sometimes you just so lethargic. But I mean, Saints, there was patches where you could tell, but really, overall, they deserve the win and have been the best team all year.
Yeah, it would. I mean, they were fancied, weren't they? But it was a good game. There was a lot of quality in the game, wasn't there?
Yeah, Exeter have kind of scraped in into the playoffs and managed to beat some top teams to get themselves into the final day. But Saints have been just exceptional all year. Exeter made a game of it, as they have for the past few weeks. They've really challenged players, and at points it was still in the balance. But the last 20 minutes, Saints just showed their class. They've got the spine of the England team, really, and it just was moments from those players, Finn Smith, Henry Pollock, Tommy Freeman, that took the game away from Exeter.
Apparently, the Premiership Rugby are going to change the way they do the playoffs. They're not going to be home advantage, they're going to be neutral venues.
Yeah.
Is that a good thing?
What do you make of that? Because obviously we see in your other old sport, Rugby League, a different system to set up the playoffs. But do you applaud that, the neutral venues, or do you like the way it works now?
Well, it's a big change because teams fight all year to get the top two spots to get the home advantage, obviously. But on Saturday evening, Toulouse played their playoff, the semi-final, effectively in Marseille against Racing 92, and it was the equivalent of the final, really. It was sold out. It was an amazing atmosphere. So the whole point is clearly to make them bigger, better games. It will be, I'm sure, within the vicinity of your home ground. So if we take Northampton Saints, for example, they've used Milton Keynes or the MK Dons on occasion. So, and it's a bigger stadium. It could prove well. I mean, it's more lucrative for the league, and that's what we've got to keep pushing.
They're saying that thought Liverpool and Brighton are two of the cities under consideration. So I'm guessing maybe Hill Dickinson, or who knows Anfield, but or the Amex. What do you make of that?
Yeah, well, England are up at the Hill Dickinson in a couple of weeks' time against Fiji in the Summer Nations tour that's coming up. So it's going to be a good test for them and a test for the stadium if there is appetite for it up there, because it is big rugby league country up there.
Yeah,
and
of course.
Football, of course.
Yeah. You've been watching the football, Chris. You're into your football. You've been enjoying the World Cup.
I have, yeah. Some teams are playing it far too safe for me at the minute. Good to see England win.
Yeah, well, in the second half, certainly. Yeah, Scotland did a bit, didn't they? I mean, I think there's a few Scotland fans who wish maybe that Steve Clarke would take the shackles off, but you don't want to go out there and get stuffed. But they still lost the game, didn't they?
Yeah, they did. It was frustrating. They weren't as good as what they were on their first outing, was it? You don't know the pressure. There was so much made of. History could be made by this team. You see, like they took a lot of that on their shoulders.
Yeah, absolutely. Well, Chris, good to talk to you. Thanks ever so much.
Thanks, guys.
Chris Ashton there, looking back on the Gallagher Prem final with Funding Circle, business finance that backs you. Find out more at fundingcircle.com.
Gallagher Prem Review on talkSPORT with Funding Circle. Business finance that backs you. Find out more at fundingcircle.com.
Yeah, we've got a couple of minutes, Andy, if you want to delve into your many cuttings and bits and pieces.
Yeah, it's an interesting piece in the Sunday Times. People are funny the way they look at it.
Yeah.
So a woman was saying, as columnist, she's complaining about the fact that she's not really got into the World Cup. Right. Many games happen at 2 a.m. You think, yes, it's called time zones. Honestly, I can't believe people are complaining about that.
There's a new card game in the England camp as well, Andy. You heard about this?
Not Uno.
No, they're playing Uno.
Oh, yeah.
And they're playing the one that, I can always forget, the one that's kind of traitors is based on Wolf. They're playing that, and it's getting quite heated, as they said last time. But yeah, a new game the boys are playing called Skyjo.
Skyjo?
Skyjo. It's another card game.
Oh, yeah.
But slightly worrying for boys who are in a tournament. It says Skyjo is this was AI saying Skyjo is an incredibly popular and addictive family card game. The goal is to collect as few points as possible. You don't want to be doing that in a football tournament, do you?
No, you don't.
So I've never played You played Skyjo? Talking of which, Big Alan Brazil joins us a little bit later on.
That BBC licence fee campaign is tremendous. Honestly, I've been so...
Well, I bought an extra licence.
I did. I bought two.
Yeah, they're so good. I bought two. I've got one for both tellies. Fantastic. Yeah,
brilliant, isn't it?
It's great. They really pushed it hard, haven't they?
Yeah. Especially as they're getting an absolute kicking from the press about ITV and them,
Yeah.
I think ITV are winning so far, no question about that, really.
Yeah, indeed.
I'm enjoying Emma Hayes' work. I mean, I find it really frustrating when people go on about this kitchen. First of all, they're shooting it much closer now, so it doesn't...
I think they were aware of it.
And they're aware of it. But, just listen. Don't forget about whether it's a kitchen or just listen to her and look at her medals on the table. That's what you need to do. I really enjoy it.
Yeah, I wouldn't be bothering Emma out there. We've met her a few times, and she's been great. She's been really good on it. So we're talking about Eloy Room, of course, who is the goalkeeper of Curaçao, who made an incredible 15 saves, joint most, since 1966, since record began. No room at the inn. We're looking for TV form. It's Eloy reviews. Oh, we did that one. Sorry, I can't do that one again.
It doesn't matter.
Eloy Room. What's this one? Room and Coke, where Eloy tastes various Caribbean spirits.
That's rubbish.
Good one with Ainsley, that would be, wouldn't it?
It would.
Ainsley would be on the first plane. He'd be willing to do that with Eloy, I'm sure.
If his name was Eloy Rum, right? It doesn't really work.
Eloy, you and a bit. See, if Charlie says that tomorrow, it's just going to sound like saying Eli with an accent, a bit like it did when Gab was saying it earlier on.
Yeah. I noticed
Harry hasn't quite got the idea of the breaks aspect of hydration breaks. He said, instead of hydration breaks, why not have 20 minutes at half time instead, says Harvey. Well, I mean, that kind of defeats the purpose. The whole point of a break is it's a break.
Yeah.
The new World Cup themed kids book by Julia Donaldson, Eloy Room on the Broom. Eloy Room is only allowed to use a broom to save the shots, says Josh in East Yorkshire. Room on the Broom, they all love that. Once retired Eloy hosts a cleaning programme on TV in his native... Would you watch that, though? I mean, I asked you the question, but you didn't put your name on that one.
Boom, boom, shake the room. I haven't quite worked out what that is, but I like the title.
Is it Earthquakes Around the World?
It could be.
Yeah, it could be. Yeah, so or it gets close to things that are being blown up. Like sort of towers and old hotels that are coming down. When they want to demolish them.
Belgium around George Weah was watching on.
In that box.
Yeah, no, he was only in the ordinary seats. His cousin was actually in the box.
Oh, okay.
Whatever happened to George Weah's cousin?
Wouldn't it be great to have a few wild cards up there? If he had any sense of fun, Infantino, he'd suddenly invite
all these odd people.
He'd have like Paul Chuckle just sitting among them. So you'd have a couple of French stars, and then that would be great, wouldn't it?
Really good
couple of legends of the game, and then Bob Carroll G's. Just on the
they
court.
wouldn't allow spit in there.
But you'd imagine he's behind him and spits on the back. That's what you do. You spit on Infantino's head and then you kind of rub it. So just a few minor celebrities you'd like to see in that shot they show of the royal box where Infantino is with all the players. Any other players you'd like to see in that picture? Talksport.com, text 81089, tweet TSH and J. Dave sent this in on something.
I could see Biggins.
Biggins, just suddenly there. That's right.
That worked for me.
Yeah, Hugo Sanchez and Biggins just on the corner of the shot. Yeah, Dave sent this in for something else, but it would be great once you have Mr. Blobby just on the corner of the picture. Anyhow, let's liven up those shots of the kind of FIFA's royal box. Talksport.com, text 81089, tweet TSH and J. Our own Shabana Ahern has taken to the streets of Charlotte and has freshened up, some might say, our birthday spread format. You'll be hearing from Shabana a little bit later on. We haven't heard it yet. We're looking forward to it. Well, that could well be at our cost, as you'll discover. Max Scott's going to look at some of the stories you may have missed. We'll look at all the latest betting with our friends at BetMGM. And later on, Alan Bernard Brazil joins us. His take on Scotland and the World Cup so far. That's all to come.
You mentioned Perisic. They've got players in their side. Modric, they're the wrong side of 35, right? These players have been in their team for a long, long time. And we're not struggling, but the first 45, I'm watching it thinking, how is this happening again?
But also, you've got to think, right? I get what you're saying, but also, there's going to be a few nerves kicking about.
Yeah.
Right? These guys, as you said there, have been around for such a long time, so they just understand, they're comfortable where they are. Modric, Perisic, these guys, they just know what it takes to get to that to get to that level. But it's. I think there's a lot of boxes that Thomas Tuchel would have ticked. I thought the team selection he got wrong. But in my personal,
who do you get wrong?
I would have started Rashford.
Yeah, me too.
And Mark Gahey has to play. He has to play.
Talk about what you're saying outside about the balance of the centre halves.
Because John Stones, he naturally plays on the right hand side, right? And it's Maguire that usually plays on the left when it was those two. When you move John Stones out to the left, naturally he doesn't go that way to Nico O'Reilly, which is why he barely touched the ball. He couldn't go that way.
And Anthony Gordon hardly received the ball in the first
Exactly.
half.
Mark Gahey naturally plays on the left side. So he's used to receiving the ball from the right-hand side and going out to the left. But that just wasn't there, which is why we hardly saw anything down that left-hand side. But yeah, I would have started Mark Gahey and I would have started Rashford for sure. They would have been my first two not on the team sheet, but they're the two that I would have started.
So you would have started with Rashford on the left. What about the other side? Would you have started with Noni?
Yeah, probably, because Saka, I'm not sure. I don't know how fit Saka is.
Okay. Looked good when he come on, though.
Looked really good. Looked like hungry.
Yeah.
But that's a good problem you've got. But at the end of the day, the quality shone through second half. Even though there were moments towards the end of the second half, before Rashford scored, I was thinking, oh my goodness, they're on top again. They're starting to move the ball. They're getting into their rhythm. Their substitutions made a big difference. But then Rashford comes on and just does what he does.
Yeah.
The sharp turn, the finish.
I mean, I don't necessarily think it's a problem that first 45 were a bit whiffy because you look at France. I was just about to say, look at France. I mean, they had a rocket up their backside. They're a completely different side in the second half.
I told you about him, didn't I? I said, how often do I sit you
Write his name down.
What is the World Cup's most controversial moment? Hurst's goal, which definitely was a goal. Zidane's headbutt. Ronaldo's hell scare in '98. Nah, it's obviously Maradona's hand of God. Mexico City, 1986. England are set to take on Argentina in the World Cup quarter-finals. Both sides have won their group, and both are well fancied to lift the trophy. This game means more. Just 4 years on from the end of the Falklands War, and the hatchet has very much not been buried. It's a physical match, with Diego Maradona taking the brunt of a strong-handed approach from England's defenders. Despite a few early chances from England, Argentina are well on top, but luckily for the Three Lions, Peter Shilton's having a good day between the sticks. At half-time, it's goalless. 6 minutes after the break, the ball was played to the edge of the area. Steve Hodge sliced his clearance and it headed back towards his own goal. Up went Maradona's left hand, and he punched it into the net. He wheeled away in celebration, urging his teammates to join him, while the England team was furiously surrounding referee Ali bin Nasser of Tunisia. Even decades later, Peter Shilton hadn't forgiven Maradona. Argentina won 2-1 and went on to lift the World Cup trophy. I mean, without the hand of God, we might never have got the song Three Lions. But we'd have another World Cup.
It's showtime on talkSPORT with BetMGM. We're ready for the action. Are you? Visit betmgm.co.uk or download the app. 18 plus. GambleAware.org.
It's time to catch up on all the latest odds. Thanks to BetMGM. Alex Licence joins us once again as we reflect on the World Cup and a bit of cricket and everything. Hi, Alex.
Morning, guys. How are we?
Not so bad. I say cosh round the head by football, really. I mean, where do you start? There's been, since we last spoke, there's been so many games. I suppose it's difficult to sort of think of the standouts. A few shock results along the way. Yeah.
The Sweden was a shock result after their first.
Yeah, and I didn't think Sweden were that bad. I mean, it wasn't. I mean, if I'm Graham Potter, I'm saying that wasn't a 5-1. I mean, they shouldn't have won it, but they weren't quite as bad as 5-1.
No, they weren't. But to be fair, I've been really impressed with Netherlands. I wasn't too sure how they would do coming into it, but they looked lethal, didn't they, going forward? Robbie getting a couple of goals. Somerville, who, if you listen to the rumours, in line for a big move. He scores again. Gakpo gets on the score sheet. So, yeah, we were going to look at the weekend, and they were one of the games that I was going to discuss because the Dutch, we've seen a big shift in their price on the back of that.
Right.
Before the weekend, they were 18-1 to win it, and they've come in to 14-1 now. So, obviously, as bookies, we've watched that and might be getting a little bit nervous on how far the Dutch might go. But, yeah, I was very impressed with them.
What about the Germans? They did win, but it wasn't particularly convincing against Ivory Coast. Where did they start in the betting? Have they drifted at all?
No, Germany, they were 14-1 before that game. They're still 14-1 now. They dragged themselves over the line, didn't they, with Undav's late goal. So I don't know, what do you guys think on Germany? I really can't work out what to make of them. Obviously, they beat Curacao 7-1, didn't they? You can't take much from it. And then they're facing a little bit of a sterner test in Ivory Coast and just got over the line. How do you think they'll go in this tournament?
Well, they average.
Well, they grow in. They have
grow into it.
And last
you
two tournaments,
you don't want to write them off. But
no, certainly don't. You never write off the Germans.
But you can't really see it.
You can't see them winning it. I mean, they could make the quarterfinals with a fair win, but I don't see them getting. Again, it sort of depends who they end up playing, Alex, doesn't it?
It does, yeah. And interestingly, the team that they are currently set to, if it all works out as it should, is actually Scotland. Should be their first knockout game, which would be interesting.
We should maybe have a look at
interesting.
Yeah. Wow. Yeah. Just very quickly on Scotland. What about the odds of them getting onto the next stage? Where are we at with that at the moment?
Yeah, so they are still expected to qualify even after defeat. They're still 2-5 to go through to the knockouts.
Wow.
Barring a hammering from Brazil and quite a few other results going the way, they should be okay. And then we've looked at some of the elimination odds. As I mentioned, they could be set to face Germany, and we've currently got them at 17-20 to go out in that round of 32.
Two of the big hitters playing tonight. I mean, because they played a pretty ungodly hour, it'll probably be for most of us the first chance to see live Argentina. They take on Austria. I take it they're massive favourites, aren't they?
They are favourites. They're not huge favourites. They're 4-9. So maybe a little bit of value if you want to multi them up in some of the other games tonight. But yeah, Argentina face what should be on paper their toughest test in Austria. 6 unbeaten currently, but as you said, you would assume Argentina will have too much, and then it's France who have what looks like a very, very straightforward task in Iraq, and I think it's more of a case of how many for them tonight. And then the game of the night for me, it's got to be Norway and Senegal.
Yeah.
Two really exciting teams, quite a difficult one to call, in my opinion. We've got Norway favourites at 6-5, Senegal at 2-1, and then the draw at 9-4. But what do you guys think on that? Where's your money on that game?
Well, I think an interesting one is if Haaland gets a couple more, then the Golden Boot will start hotting up, won't it? Really, I think they'll start to take shape a little bit. I mean, Salah turned up last night. He's on the score sheet, isn't he?
Yeah, he did. Yeah, Haaland's still currently 14-1 to win that Golden Boot, with Mbappe favourite at 3-1, and then Messi at 4-1. I mean, tonight, I think looking at the punters, I think we know where they're all going to be looking, don't we? That goal scoring market. I had a look this morning, and if you fancy all three of them to score, Messi, Mbappe, and Haaland, that's 11-4. Or if you think they'll score 2 or more each, like they did in that round one, that's currently 70-1, and I think that one might be worth a couple of quid, to be honest.
We were chatting to Mark Butcher earlier on. Just a quick one on the third test. The skipper will be back, as will Gus Atkinson, which hopefully will...
And Jamie Smith, I'd imagine.
And Jamie Smith, yeah, which will hopefully help. So what are the odds on England for that one on Thursday?
Yeah, England still slight favourites for that deciding test at evens. New Zealand just above that at 5-4, and the draw out 15-2. But yeah, well, I think the last thing that England needed on the back of all that controversy was a seriously poor performance, wasn't it? I mean, credit to New Zealand, they were just much better in all aspects. If you want to look at some of the positives, Joe Root surpassed 14,000, didn't he, as he goes to chase down Sachin's record, and we worked out this morning he needs to average about 115 per test to beat the record by the end of next summer's Ashes. So very much achievable. But Andy, I was going to ask your thoughts. I know you did touch on it.
That's very difficult to average 115 in every test match. He's not going to do that.
Yeah, I wonder
that's too difficult.
I wonder if anybody's having a bet on Suryavanshi as well. 11 ball 50. The 15-year-old.
He's the new Bradman.
Indian wonder kid. I mean, you say you don't think he's coming for the next series for the test. Is it a test series?
Is he in the T20 team? I'd have to check that.
No, he didn't make that. The ODI tour, he didn't make it.
Wow.
I mean, to be fair, India could probably name 3 squads that could come and do a bit, couldn't they? So his time will come, certainly, won't it?
Oh, he's amazing.
Yeah,
Alex, good stuff. We'll catch up with you soon. Thanks a lot.
Cheers, guys.
Alex Licence there from BetMGM. Visit betmgm.co.uk or download the app. 18+, begambleaware.org.
It's showtime on talkSPORT with BetMGM. Keep things golden with responsible play at betmgm.co.uk. 18+, gambleaware.org.
Now, our very own Shabana Hearn has been out and about in Charlotte, North Carolina, ahead of Scotland's game with Brazil on Wednesday, live on talkSPORT, of course, and she's been asking the question on everyone's lips.
Paul, Andy, we're in Charlotte, and there's a lot of people kicking up a fuss about the lack of birthday spread due to the World Cup. So we've brought the birthday spread to North Carolina in the shape of you two. You guess the guy on the left, his age. Guess Andy's age.
I feel bad. I'm gonna say like 55.
You shouldn't feel bad, Jess.
Did I do good?
You've outdone yourself. By his standards. You have. Love.
52.
Andy, 52?
Yeah.
What about Paul? Paul Hawksbee?
48.
Paul, you should come to Charlotte, pal.
He's probably older than him, and that's why you're asking me.
So the guy on the left, you're saying is 60?
Yeah.
The guy on the right?
50.
50?
Same guess. How old do I think these guys are?
Yep. Man on the left first.
On the left first?
Yeah.
Gotta be at least 40 to 50.
40?
40.
It's like the nicest thing anyone's ever said.
Oh, that's not it? That's not it?
Well, I think he'll take it.
Oh, man. All right. Well, the one on the right, if he's definitely 40 to 50 if he's not. You feel me?
Right.
Am I right?
Yeah.
All right.
They're definitely a bit older than that.
There we are, thank you. And the good thing, the picture, if you were watching on Connect TV, you're thinking, they look younger than that. That's because the picture we showed you for illustrative purposes...
I think you'll find I look the same.
...was about 15, 16 years old. The picture that was being shown to the people, I think, was taken last year. So I think it's that thing a lot of... I mean, anybody over 40, to many of the young people being asked there, is just decrepit. So they just...
I thought they were going to go high there. I mean, 55, I'll take that all day. I thought they were going to go about 85.
I thought it was going to be like that show 10 years younger, where like they show a picture of you in the Arndale and they say, oh, he must be 86. Then you have new teeth fitted and a pair of glasses and suddenly you look 35. But thank you, Shaban. You've given us a bit of a spring. I've always liked Charlotte North. You ever been? It's a lovely place.
No, I've never been.
I'll talk it up even more now. So, so I think we came out of that relatively unscathed.
I did enjoy yesterday during, I think it was the Belgian-Iran game, when the referee had to explain a decision. I think it was the offside, lovely innovative free kick that unfortunately was offside. And his mic didn't work at all. And you saw him mouthing it. And they finally turned it on just to hear him whistle for the start of play. It was brilliant. Great timing. Well done.
There's been, they've just at the end, there's been a few of those. After review, quite a few Norman Colliers, isn't there? It hasn't really worked.
It's not really good.
Studio, that is very true. Dance has got a problem with his hearing because he said he thought we were going to have a chat with Alec Lifeson from BetMGM. Alec Lifeson, of course, from the legendary Canadian band Rush.
Oh, he would know.
So the idea that he's now working for MGM doing the betting, I mean, I doubt if he needs to. Maybe he just likes betting, Dance. And that does open the door to something else. We've been asking because the other day, Charlie Baker said that he went and saw Barry Manilow.
Yes.
And he recorded the songs that were being played at those key moments during the gig when England scored the games, because he wasn't able to watch it live. And then Karen went the following night. And she told us the songs that were being played at certain points when England scored the goals. And John the Janus says, an update on goal timing / gig dynamics that Charlie introduced at Manilow last week. I can report that the USA's 43rd minute goal by Alexander Freeman went in as Foreigner played their hit Cold as Ice at Wembley on Friday evening. Nice. So maybe there is a trend there. So if you are going to a gig during this World Cup when this game's on, and if you're going to an evening gig, of course, they invariably will be. When the big key moment happens in the game, what's the song they were playing? It doesn't take us anywhere massive, but you can let us know as the tournament unfolds.
Omen.
It could be. talksport.com/H&J. Text to 81089. You can tweet to TSH&J. You can keep your TV formats coming in for Eloy Room, the Curaçao goalkeeper. But Max Scott's going to pop in, and we're going to look at some of the stories you may have missed along the way. Alan Brazil joins us for a chat. We'll see what he made of Scotland and the World Cup through his eyes so far. And Tom Rennie, broadcaster and West Ham fan, has been hate-watching former Hammers managers and hoping they fail. And he hit the jackpot with Graham Potter and Julian Lopetegui over the weekend. So we'll be catching up with him as well. We're here with our good friends at Selco Builders Warehouse. Check out this month's real deals at selcobw.com. Just chatting off air about Terry Venables and Euro 96. You're getting Euro 96 vibes already.
Well, I'm getting England-Holland Euro 96 vibes, 100%, because, I was very fortunate enough to know Terry, as I'm sure you two did. And, I asked him about that game. We used to do a show together on Saturdays on the radio about football. And, he said, I just threw 7 forwards on. Everybody could play in attack. Even the sort of back four, we were very sort of front-footed thinking. And he said, don't worry about how many goals they're going to score. Just score more goals than them. And then you have them on the back foot and they can't get out of their own half anyway. Yeah. And you were there for England-Holland at Wembley Stadium. I was there when the scoreboard said England 4, Holland 0. I mean, they did score a goal, but we did see 4-0 for a while. And last night was very, very reminiscent of that, and they talk about total football. That was as close as we got. And, I'm fascinated by managers and what they say and what makes the difference between an Alex Ferguson and an Arsene Wenger and a Thomas Tuchel compared to the others. Ancelotti, I know you're a big fan of, and he's been on the show.
Yeah.
And it's great, isn't it, what Harry... Because Harry... The thing about Tuchel is he's just saying what he thinks. Even right before the game, you know, he's saying, well, we're going to do this because they're going to do that. And if they're watching, they know what he's going to do. But he's so organised in a way that's sort of, you know, quite off-putting for the opposition, I would imagine. And then Harry Kane does a Thomas Tuchel after the match because he tells you exactly what Tuchel told them at half time, which was basically, lads, I thought we had a deal here. You're just gonna play like you don't care, like you're back in the playground, you know. And in the first half, you didn't do that, boys. You know, we had an agreement. Can we just go out and do that? And they all went, oh yeah, we remember.
Hello, I'm Matt Fordham from talkSPORT. This is How to Win the World Cup.
This is the best squad I think England have ever had.
He used to love America, now he doesn't. It's very sad.
It was so important to succeed because of all the pressure we received.
Don't jump for this one, I'm going to knock his head off.
Warning, this podcast does not guarantee England will actually win anything.
There it is, bit of Foreigner. Dance will be loving that. And that was the goal, Alexander Freeman's goal, going in as cold as ice was played at the gig. Just to remind you, if you're going to a gig during the tournament, feel free to let us know what was playing at the key moment. It could be a long-forgotten album track. So far, it seems to be the hits. Just a reminder that talkSPORT is now available to watch live in more places than ever, including on Samsung TV Plus. So make sure you're tuning in for our wall-to-wall coverage throughout the World Cup. That's Samsung TV Plus for talkSPORT and all the sports you know and love. Just watch. Max Scott has popped in to see us. Max has been keeping an eye on some of the stories you may have missed at this World Cup. Hi, Max.
Good afternoon. Good afternoon. Where do we start? I mean, it's not been a great week for former Spurs, former Real Madrid forward Rafa van der Vaart. He's got himself into a lot of trouble in his new broadcasting career, making very offensive comments about Japanese players. He's also got into a spat with Jurgen Klopp. He's been making comments about Virgil van Dijk, saying he turns like a Boeing 747. Of course, not the thing really to say when Jurgen Klopp's also in the TV lineup. He says, I don't know if it's even worth naming Rafa van der Vaart at all, but if he ever says something positive about a player, I'm willing to take him seriously again. Nice that Jurgen Klopp still got his players' backs, I think.
I love that Roy Keane couldn't resist doing his catchphrase. They were talking about, talking about the Curaçao keeper last night? And they said, well, he made 15 saves, but it's his job.
Oh, yeah.
It's his job to
made a record.
It's brilliant, isn't it?
As well, this is a story that's emerged this morning. Of course, one of the big talking points off the pitch has been around Iran. You know, all of the geopolitical stuff. Iran have been playing their games in LA, the biggest Iranian diaspora in the world. And they, of course, they've been hit with all these travel issues that we've seen after the New Zealand game. They were told immediately by US officials to leave the country, even though they'd had a warm-down session planned in LA the day after. But despite all of the political tensions, Iranian players, and I think you'll be able to see this on the screens in a moment if you are watching on YouTube or Smart TV, have left a handwritten note on the flip chart in the changing room. And it says, from the ancient Persia of thousands of years ago to the civilized Iran of today, the spirit of Iran remains alive and steadfast. We came to LA with pride, competed with honor, and leave with dignity. Thank you, Los Angeles, for your hospitality. And thank you to every Iranian who gave their heart, voice, and soul for Iran throughout these 180 minutes. May peace, respect, and friendship prevail among all nations. So a lovely sort of touch from the Iranian footballers who've sort of become the centre.
Very carefully worded and deliberately ambiguous, because there can't be any, you can't have any criticism of the regime. There can't be any hidden message in there, because, these guys will be fearing for their lives and their families.
And everything, yeah.
I thought it was a bit tight to boo the anthem. I know in the cold light of day, USA has been at war, inverted commas, with Iran, but still, a lot of those players, we don't know what their beliefs is, what their thoughts are, and the players that are representing the country aren't necessarily,
We've seen already, Paul, what one of their players has been left at home for speaking out. He plays in Qatar, and he's been speaking out against the Iranian regime. He's not allowed to play. And so these players, like you rightly say, it's such a complex issue, and we don't know their own personal stances. And I think to sign off that with a message of may peace, respect and friendship prevail among all nations is pretty sort of pitch perfect, really.
Yeah.
And a great sort of thanks for all the Iranian fans that have come out and tried to support Iranian players who have found themselves in the middle of this sort of tension in the States.
Yeah.
Now, I heard you speaking earlier about Doku and the outrage off the back of this. But interestingly, something that has gone slightly under the radar is that a Norwegian defender, Leo Østegård, also became a father for the first time during this World Cup camp. He decided not to go home and witnessed the birth of his child.
Criticised for that as well. You can't win either way.
You can't win either way. And he said he witnessed it on FaceTime. And he says, I'm completely exhausted myself. It was absolutely amazing. And praising his wife, etc., etc. But is it some confected outrage, isn't there, with regards to this sort of what to do? Would you go home, boys, if you were about to play in a World Cup final?
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Well, I don't know about a final.
Yeah.
You'd have to think about it for a final.
I mean, you'd never be able to live it, Daddy wasn't there. Daddy thought it was a better idea to go and play football. So you'd never be able to live it down. News is in from Nigel Adley. He sent me a press release that he's received. Zinedine Zidane's first ever watch to go under the hammer on November the 9th. Nigel makes the point, it's probably the worst thing you could do. It's a very good cause because it's going for charity. But who's going to buy a series of springs and tiny cogs? Don't take a hammer to a watch. Also, Zinedine, I've often thought to myself, what I really want, I don't want Maradona's shirt. I want Zinedine Zidane's first ever watch. I take it, it's like a Mickey Mouse one. It's not going to be a Rolex.
A Casio.
Yeah, it probably will be. One of those early ones that you needed two hands to operate. The window cleaners.
Well, funnily enough, we were just admiring, well, actually, you weren't admiring my watch. I was admiring your watch.
I don't know what your watch is.
Well, this is the only watch I've ever had, really. It's an Omega Seamaster. Other watches available.
That's
okay.
pretty posh.
Don't be telling people about your posh watch where they'll be grappling you as you leave the
Well, Kevin Peterson, if he's listening, he'll tell me to take it off, won't he? Because he says you can't walk around London with a watch on. No. You'll definitely get it robbed.
I'll walk around London with a watch on.
Sorry, KP.
Yeah. Have you ever played Sky, Joe, the card game that's taking the England hotel by storm? I've never played it. No. Maybe we should get a box in and have a game.
We should have a live watch-along of us playing it.
The idea is to lose points. We made the point earlier. It's not a great thing to play when you're at a World Cup, is it, really?
No.
Anyway, Max, thank you.
Pleasure.
We will catch up with you tomorrow.
Yes.
And you are going to be out and about now and again doing sort of thematic chats with people.
I'm heading somewhere now to a location that I won't share in case it fails.
Right, okay.
But that's what I'm going to do right now.
Nice one.
We were hoping for some empanadas for lunch, but never had.
But they closed
on Mondays. That was going to be our in-depth tactical chat on Argentina and free empanadas. Thank you, Max. Cheers. We'll catch up with you tomorrow. Max got there. Tom Rennie's going to join us. He's been hate-watching old West Ham managers in the dugout of the World Cup and absolutely loving it. So bitter. Asif Bernan has written a fantastic book, The Other Side of the Hand of God, and because today's the 40th anniversary of that game, the most notorious game probably of Diego's career, and he's had a few, let's be honest, scoring one of the greatest goals of all time and punching one in. Only Diego could do that. Asif's going to join us, and we'll have a special World Cup shirt in the studio a little bit later on that links to that anniversary. And we'll look at why there's been so many goals in this tournament in the final hour as well. Dean Scoggins joining us over in New York from the Sun, their tactician. And that's all to come in the final hour of the show.
Simon, from Southgate to Tuchel, was this the front-footed difference that you have been wishing?
Oh, definitely. I mean, for a number of reasons, for the reasons that Brad's laid out in terms of the substitutions, from the manner in which this is rock and roll football. This is what we saw with Jurgen Klopp in the second half. Interesting that Tuchel needs to have a reinforcement at half-time, because you would have assumed that that conversation had happened before the game and that they were told to get on the front foot before the game. And England looked quite nervous when they started, and they weren't, for the first 5 or 10 minutes, I thought they weren't really at it. And you know, I think the performance in the second half, I was sitting next to Brad, and he was saying to me, and I think I'm right in quoting him, is that this is the best attacking formation or attacking performance that we've seen in the World Cup so far, in terms of the way that they put it upon the Croatians. Whatever we may have created in the media about how old this Croatian team is, Troy was saying to me off air that the average age of the Croatians is 28 and a half, whereas our team is 27. We've been walking around under the impression this is a dad's army, just because you've got Luka Modric. So they're not mugs. You know, I think we could have done better with the goals, but notwithstanding that, you know, whatever lessons we think we need to learn defensively, Tuchel will learn them and they'll make some adjustments. But offensively, if you look at that performance, that is as good as you want an England side to play. It's as good as an England side has played on the front foot for a very, very long time. And you look at it, and 4-2 flatters the Croatians to some extent, because England could have had 6 in the second half. So I think it's a great marker. It's a great start to the tournament. It's what the public will want to see. Tuchel is hiding his light behind a bushel, because I would imagine he was very strong in the dressing room at half-time to wake a few people up, because you saw it, they came out of the traps like men possessed. Yeah. You know, they scored the perfect cure to a goal just before half-time is a goal directly after half-time. And that's exactly what England got.
I also thought as well, sorry, I know you've got to go to break.
No problem.
But you know, now you see so many managers say buzzwords, and he's talking about being aggressive, being on the front foot. He actually means it, doesn't he? You get that sense of, when he say we're on the front foot and be brave, if we make this mistake, it's on me, it's not on you, lads. So.
Talk Sport.
With the headlines at 2 minutes past 12, I'm Tom Clayton. Good afternoon. We're told the World Cup fighters Cape Verde have been underestimated. Here's Blue Sharks superfan Gilson Nunes.
Right now, with these 2 first games where we could win that game, but we're gonna continue doing the work, being humble. There is a very good chance that we win that game and we take the second place.
Cape Verde came back to draw 2-2 with Uruguay. A win over Saudi Arabia would guarantee them second in the group. First will likely be Spain after their 4-0 demolition of the Saudis yesterday. Pep Clotet says this team's a completely different beast with Lamine Yamal.
Possibly the others are really good players, but they have to be on a best day to be able to produce that. You know, I think Spain will be very dependent at the moment with Yamal.
Speaking of superstars, just how important will Neymar's return to Brazil team be? Carlo Ancelotti expects him to be fit for the match with Scotland on Wednesday, live on talkSPORT. Lucas Paquetá says that is a boost. His words have been translated.
He's a hugely important player for our national team with a wonderful history here, and he can still help us a great deal. He's very important, just like every other player in the squad, so we're happy for him, happy he's back, and we hope he can be back on the pitch as soon as possible, helping us out.
Elsewhere today, Ollie Watkins has offered his support to Jeremy Doku after he left the Belgium squad to attend the birth of his first child. Doku had been criticised, but Watkins says it only happens once. And Jamie George will captain the England rugby team this summer. Maro Itoje is being rested ahead of the World Cup next year. Get more at talksport.com.
talkSPORT News.
Andy Burnham's confirmed he'll run for Labour leader following Sir Keir Starmer's resignation. The current PM says he'll remain in the job until a contest to replace him is wrapped up by the end of the summer. This as Reform calling for a general election. For full analysis, head to Times Radio.
talkSPORT weather with QuickFit. This summer, treat yourself to Bridgestone Turanza All-Season 6 tyres with a 25,000 mileage guarantee. Book today at quickfit.com. Conditions apply.
Increasingly hot and humid in the southeast, where the best of the sunshine is. Elsewhere, cloudy with a few areas of showery rain, particularly in the north and in Scotland.
Hello.
Time for heroes to be made. Is tonight the night? Early ball to Saibari, who's kept himself onside and smashes it into the net. A minute and 10 seconds have been played, and Scotland are 1-0 down already.
Keep the head, stay composed, stay compact.
And all of Scotland's nerves, frailties, memories of disappointments from the past have come to the fore again here.
But you can feel now the rage coming from the Tartan Army.
And that is it. Scotland are beaten in Boston. It will go to the final match round in Miami against Brazil, an iconic venue against an iconic footballing nation.
Yes, wasn't a B for Scotland after going behind early against Morocco. And so, yeah, we turn to Brazil and what might happen in the next game. Now, we look forward to welcoming Alan Brazil back to the breakfast hot seat in good time.
Absolutely.
He convalesces from his big operation a month or so ago. But, of course, it has given him a chance to enjoy plenty of World Cup football. And we're delighted to say that Alan joins us now with his thoughts on Scotland and the tournament so far. Hello, Al.
Did I see you two numpty snigger there when, Scotland were getting beat again?
No, Andy was saying last week he hates the pipes. He hates the sound of the pipes. He upset. Are you a fan of the pipes?
Yeah, not all the time, but yes, absolutely. In the film Braveheart and stuff like that,
Yeah.
absolutely.
Not as an
but I
alarm
can't be
call.
walking over Westminster Bridge and that guy there playing non-stop 24 hours a day for a few quid. Give us a break, mate.
The bloke outside Cheltenham who's always there when you leave Cheltenham as well by the roundabout.
I can never remember that leaving Cheltenham. So forget that.
Talking about you're looking very well out. It's great to see.
I'm very good. Listen, the weather, like everywhere, has been beautiful here in Suffolk. And I'll be honest with you, I've been very lazy. I've done nothing. Really, I've been doing nothing. The odd little walk out and stuff like that. But I'm getting there. I'm getting better. And, obviously with the football and the golf, the Open and all sorts going on at the moment, it's just great. It's a great time, if you're not working, to be watching sport on telly. It's brilliant. We've got Wimbledon coming up, the Grand Prix coming up. So I can't whinge. I'm very lucky. I'm very happy.
Yeah, because all these years you've had to get up very early and go to bed early as well, and you probably missed quite a few games. Whereas in this World Cup there are some late games. I mean, even Scotland twice have been on really late.
Yeah. My problem, after the operation I had, I'm struggling to sleep, so it's perfect for me. Normally I'd be saying, I can't wait till 1 o'clock in the morning. And now I can't wait for it, So I'm seeing a lot of silly games late in the middle of the night, early morning. But there's so much to take in, isn't there? But I have to be honest, guys. It's not really taken off from me just yet. There's been one or two crackers, but it hasn't really. I'm waiting for the second stages where it really, really gets interesting. Of course, I just hope that Scotland will make it, and we don't want a battering from Brazil. But Brazil have been up and down. We know they can turn it on. They've got some fantastic players, but I wouldn't say this is a classic Brazil side. And if we can play like we did second half against Morocco and get stuck in and not sit back on our heels and let them come to us, you do that with Brazil, you're going to get hiding.
Yeah.
I think we've got to have a little go. I really do. And get some support to the forward player, whoever that may be, if it's Shanklin or Che Adams, whoever is up there on their own. I think McGinn's got to get closer to him quicker to try and give him a hand, because it's murder when you play up there. I've done that against two defenders, sometimes three. You've got to be strong to hold it and give your centre-halves and your defenders a break to push up and have a little breather. If the ball keeps coming back, there's only one thing that's going to happen. You're going to concede.
Steve Clark's taken a bit of heat since the Morocco game, Alan, because, there was a feeling that Shanklin, who is a natural finisher, maybe should have been on the pitch, never got a chance.
Well, I was going to come to that, guys, because this Brazil game, what does he do? Does he sit back, and if we get beat 1-0, it's probably enough to qualify, which is remarkable, which is brilliant? Or does he have a go and say, look, let's push them back, let's try and get at them? Now, who do you play up front? Do you play Che Adams again, who's more mobile than Shanklin? Shanklin is the best finisher Scotland have got in the squad. He's a McCoy's job. He can finish, make no mistake. So he'll be kicking Steve Clark saying, you got to play me. You got to play me. I'm in great form. So it's an interesting one. But whoever plays there, as I say, guys, I think John McGinn's the one who's got to try and spark off him when the ball goes forward. We've got to retain some sort of possession or we're going to be under so much pressure. And down that left-hand side, Vinicius Junior, that's the side that really worries me for Scotland. We've got to block that off. But in saying that, look, as long as we defend better, give no stupid goals away. In fact, the goal against Morocco, that was a great finish. I'm not going to whinge and say, how can you lose a goal that early? It was a great finish. It was an offside decision. He pushed up when he shouldn't have done, and we got punished. After that, second half, we were great. I thought Christie came on and done well. And I thought the boy from Norwich done well. Kenny McLean, he came on and done well. So it's going to be an intriguing one. It's going to be, all eyes will be on the coach to see what he does and how he plays and what formation he plays.
I mean, another one is Gannon Doak, who's very popular with the fans. But you talk about Vinny Junior. I mean, maybe one way...
He looked good when he came.
Yeah.
In both games he's looked good.
But he's great going forward, isn't he? Well, maybe you've got to do a defensive job first, and if you need to be chasing it, that's when you bring Gannon Doak on, I guess.
Yeah, well, this is the dilemma that, managers have to make, because as fans, you want to see Gannon Doak play. You want to see him try and terrorise the fullback and get whip crosses in. But sometimes if you're that type of player and you don't get the ball to feet, and you don't get enough of the ball, you're a passenger. So it's a difficult one. And it's one that Steve Clarke will definitely be thinking about. What does he do? Does he do the opposite to Morocco and keep it tight instead of that early goal? Does he keep it tight and try and bore Brazil and frustrate the Brazilian crowd? Or does he say, come on, we've got a great chance, we've won a game, any sort of a draw or a small loss, we're going to the second round. So Steve Clarke, his record is amazing, but he'll have a sleepless night. I promise you. He'll be worried. He'll be worried and thinking, how do I play this one? Yeah. As I said, I don't think it's a classic, an all-time great Brazil side. I think there's been much, much better Brazilian sides. But at the same time, we know they've got players that are really special on the ball and can kill you in the space of 2-3 seconds. A game, you're suddenly chasing the game.
What did you make of England, Alan, in their opener against Croatia?
Like most other people, guys, I thought midfield to forward, they were great, as good as I've seen anyone in the tournament so far, and I mean that. I thought midfield, brilliant, solid. And up front as well, I thought they could score against anyone. My biggest problem is just at the back.
Yeah.
When you look at Arsenal winning, sorry to Andy here, but Arsenal winning the league, the two centre-backs were magnificent all year, weren't they? And that's what England need to be world champions, I think. I think they need a pairing there, which is not only together and understands each other, but good on the ball as well. No silly little mistakes. But that understanding between two centre pairings, the pairings at the back, is what England are missing. And that's not a lot. That can be put right. And he may play Gay in the next game. We'll see. I'm not saying who's to be dropped, but I just feel that heart of the defence could be England's downfall. But saying that, going forward, brilliant, great flair, great pace, great stamina. They've got the lot there. It's just at the back it worries me if they're going to win it or not.
Yeah. Now, we know that now and again you like to join in on the news bulletins, and you would have been joining in today because all the big news about Keir Starmer broke. So it looks like a procession for Andy Burnham, or maybe not. How are you going to run?
Well, Andy Burnham, Andy Burnham is remarkable. He's done some work for talkSPORT, In the early days of it, and you should know this because you were there, early days, he was doing a bit of co-commentary and stuff like that from Goodison. So the Prime Minister is a talkSPORT man, and he's an Everton man, he's a Celtic man.
We played five-a-side against them on the old pitches by the old studios.
Did he play?
Yeah, he played. It was when he was I think when he was working for the Labour Party before. I think he got stuck in.
Left wing. He was by the fence all the time, left wing.
Yeah, absolutely.
If there's
and Hank Potts.
So there could be a cabinet post for you, Al, potentially.
Oh, by the way, I'd love to. I couldn't do any bloody worse.
Good.
Oh, good stuff. Well, it's good to hear you and see you in fine fettle. And
I'm hoping, guys. I'm hoping maybe end of July, August. I'm hoping to get back. There's one or two little issues I've got still. Yeah. I'm down at Cambridge, and they're trying to find out. There's a slight, not worry, but there's just something not right, and they're trying to work. They're working on it and trying to find out what it is. It's basically fluid. Fluid keeps coming back, and there's a reason for it. And as yet, we can't find it. And it's not me drinking because that's gone.
Right.
They've been brilliant, looked after me fantastic. It's a wonderful place, overworked, understaffed. underfunded. We know that. And when you see it firsthand, guys, it's frightening. They do an unbelievable job. So I'm in good hands. And I will be back soon to pester you two.
Excellent. Well, look, enjoy Scotland game and the England game. All the best, Al. Thanks very much.
See you guys. Thanks. Cheers.
Yeah,
there it is, Alan Brazil there. And, good to hear him in good nick at the moment.
I came up with a good song for Gannon Doak.
Did you really?
The tune of Shenandoah. It absolutely works.
Oh, that's one for the kids.
I'm not going to sing
It's an old cowboy show from about, 1960?
Quite a famous song, though, isn't it?
Do you want to... Is it? Is it was it Frankie Lane?
Yeah, it's quite fun. I think most people would have heard it at some point.
Okay, we'll play Shenandoah. We can find it, and then Andy can sing along with his Gannon Doak version.
You can see how it would scan, though.
Abby in Glasgow says, why not get Alan to be one of your creatures of the night since he's up there?
That's a good idea.
Yeah. I imagine he'll fall. Maybe we cut to him. He's definitely fallen asleep. I'm not watching this. You can hear him say, oh, come on, no way. He'd be definitely Abby, but we'll put it to him if we can. Off the back of Zidane's watch going under the hammer, says Stacky the Blue Nose, let's have your watch footballers. Casio Miro or Rolexi Lalas. I mean, honestly, if you must in the next 45 minutes.
Or Breitling.
Yeah, that's very good. Let's have your watch. But yeah, Alan would have liked that one. So talksport.com, text to 81089, tweet to TSH&J. Can you tell me when Alan's on? Because I want to watch Bargain Hunt at 12:15. Yeah, cheers, Brian. Well, he's gone now, so go on, clear off, as Mr. Bates would say. Go on, clear off. And Bates, clear off. So anyway, it's Paul Hawksbee and Andy Jacobs here on Talk Sport. Still to come. Hate watching. Are you doing your hate watching at this World Cup? Tell us who and why you've been hate watching. Tom Rennie has been watching Messrs Potter and Lopetegui because of their old West Ham connections. And he'll tell us more about the joys of it in a few moments' time. We're here with Selco Builders Warehouse. It's where the trade go.
We're talking about that in great detail yet on yesterday's show about whether or not he should start, how much game time he should have. Because he's Cristiano Ronaldo, I think there's so much pressure on the manager, Roberto Martinez, to pick him, to start him, etc. What's your view on a situation like that? What do you do, Rio?
Well, Roberto Martinez is paid the money to make this decision, and I think it's the way that he handles that it will be key. I think if he was going to attempt to kind of take Cristiano Ronaldo out of the team, I think it's all about the narrative. I think it's all about approaching him and going, listen, if he thinks this is how I'll do it. We've got a better chance of winning it for you coming on with 30 minutes to go when the opposition are tired, when their limbs are all weary, lactic acid is building up in all these players' legs, and they see Cristiano Ronaldo warming up on the side, and you come on and terrorise them and capitalise on that in the latter stages of the games. Do you think anyone's going to be bothered when you lift that trophy as our captain? No. So here we go. You're going to start some games, but then some you're not going to start. But that's part of the plan. And at 41 years old, I'm sure that Cristiano would understand that because, listen, we all know, Benny, you're the same. When we were getting older, things weren't working as quickly, as smoothly as they once were. But there's no denying the guy's potent. When the ball drops in the box, if you had three players to the top three players in the world for the ball to drop to, he'd be one of the guys you wanted to drop to even still now because he's that potent. He's got almost 1,000 goals. But listen, if it was down to me, I think I would take that same approach I just mentioned there. I'd pull him in and out of games depending on the opponents. And I'd just have to make sure that I talk to him and make sure he understands that. But one thing I would say when I watched him, I think a lot of blame and a lot of people are pointing the finger at Cristiano. I don't think the actual service into him was great either, by the way, or an opportunity to put his way often. I saw quite a few options to play the ball forward, didn't take them options up. And I think, if you're going to have him in your team, you've got to find him as often as you can. And they've got great players who can do that.
Hello, I'm Matt Fordham from talkSPORT. This is How to Win the World Cup.
This is the best squad I think England have ever had.
He used to love America, now he doesn't. It's very sad.
It was so important to succeed because of all the pressure we received.
Don't jump for this one, I'm going to knock his head off.
Warning, this podcast does not guarantee England will actually win anything.
Hate watching is the subject with Tom Rennie. Shortly before that, our creature of the night. We have a nocturnal army staying up so you don't have to watch football at an ungodly hour. And the latest of them is Alexander, who is a Norwich fan and stayed up for at the 2 a.m. kickoff between Egypt and New Zealand.
And we're underway. New Zealand versus Egypt. Both sides in search of a first World Cup win and a Group G. High pressure game, high pressure stakes. So high pressure that I've had a nosebleed. I think it's from all the build up of this big clash. 2 a.m. in the morning in Norfolk. Let's hope for a cracker.
Corner, New Zealand from their left. Heads go off, oh, it's 1-0. Finn Sermon has scored. And the Kiwis lead.
New Zealand. That's the big man. It's Sermon. Great header. Swung in. Bang. Comes from a corner just won by Elijah Just, and New Zealand hit the front. Great start by New Zealand, playing on the front foot. The Pharaohs need a big second half if they're to get anything from this. New Zealand though, deserved lead. Finn Sermon, big man up from the back. Header, no chance for the keeper.
Forward by Attia from a central position. Now then the right-hand side, the cross from Fati, headed the goal, and in!
All for Egypt. They are level. Zico coming through the middle of centre halves. Header. Crogham's got to be doing better. Good contact from Zico, but the keeper's got a hand on it. He should be pushing over the top, really. You can tell he's annoyed with himself, but he knows he should be doing better. But that's no more than Egypt deserve. They've been pushing and pushing and pushing.
Egypt have got it down the other end of the field. Here comes Salah. Corner of the box. Wants the 1-2. Mohamed Salah! And he puts Egypt into the lead.
And who else? Their talisman, the Egyptian king, has got the goal. Great, well-worked goal from Egypt. Not going to lie, I've not watched every game. I've probably watched 95% of them. 72 minutes, the referee's called the hydration break. I think I'm going to have to go for a hydration break as well. Go make myself a cup of tea. I'm feeling very awake. This early time of 25-4.
Who it's going to be? It's going to be Salah, of course. But to the near post, and Trezeguet got there. And it's 3-1 Egypt.
Goal. Egypt. They have scored again. New Zealand look flat on the feet. Great ball in. Low, hard, Trezeguet. Stoops. Great connection on it. Takes it past Crocombe. Egypt like they're soaring to the top of the group. Full time. New Zealand 1, Egypt 3. Great second half performance by the Pharaohs. Gets them over the line. First World Cup win ever. Good watch. Enjoyed it. Doesn't jump off the page. It's a big fixture. But sometimes them games are the best games. I've seen it plenty of times. I support Norwich. I've seen some drab games over the years, I tell you. But as I can now see some light outside my window, I'm thinking, do I go to bed? I wish there was another game on. But I'm not going to go to bed, because I feel like if I wake the missus up, there's going to be hell to pay. It's been a pleasure. It's been real. It's been enjoyable. Good evening, good afternoon, good morning.
That was nuts. Clearly, the missus and the kids were asleep upstairs.
Bob Harris of football
It was,
reporting.
but his voice is kind of. It does sort of send you to sleep in the nicest possible way. That time of the morning, I felt myself drifting off.
Well, the thing is, he started yawning in quite a few minutes.
There'll be another creature of the night.
Good,
but, well done, Alexander. Good work.
All the details.
Good to hear a bit of the Norwich accent.
The Egyptian king.
Leaking through. Beautifully done. Anyway, hate watching. You've done a bit of hate watching at this World Cup with players from rival clubs having a bit of a mare. And we all enjoy it along the way. Tom Rennie, the broadcaster, has, and West Ham fan, had a double over the weekend, really, extended weekend, with Julian Lopetegui and especially Graham Potter, who he really kind of reserved the worst of his
And some of the ex-West Ham players.
Yeah. He joins us now. Hello, Tom.
Hi guys, I very much enjoyed the Creature of the Night segment there. Did he have a Valium before the game or during the... What was that? I know it's early, but get the man an espresso. I know it. Surely they're allowed, no? Just that was wild. I enjoyed that. That was funny.
Great cross there is coming. And I've just my eyes were closing. So I did love your tweets. You were so funny. Delighted to watch Graham Potter get gubbed the other day, weren't you?
Do you know what? I've enjoyed this World Cup thus far, right? We've been doing the games on Sirius XM in the US, and there's been so much, love in the air, right? There's been so much positivity about the US team. I'm doing all these shows, and everyone's like, oh, we could win the World Cup. Hasn't it been better than expected? And it's like, yeah, okay, but that's not my natural disposition. I just love to hate, really. And I've got to say, Graham Potter, I wish him, in his personal life, a lot of happiness. In his football career, I wish him no peace for the rest of it. He deserves to suffer. The most appalling manager I could possibly describe to you, a trumped-up PE teacher with delusions of grandeur who had, 8 or 9 months at West Ham where he was just asleep at the wheel, a bit like a creature of the night trying to watch the Egypt game. And watching him against the Netherlands this weekend, I gotta say I did enjoy it because it was almost like he had never watched a Dutch team. And I found that so funny in that, Graham Potter probably had an amazing tactical breakdown of what his team were going to do. His book on tactics would be a scintillating read if, again, you like that sort of thing. He had these brilliant ideas that worked so well against Tunisia. 3 at the back, we'll do 1 midfielder, we'll do wing-backs further forward, we'll do 2 up front. Some bizarre 3-1-4-2 formation. And Ronald Koeman was like, well, we've been doing this in Holland, Netherlands, since 1970. The exact same tactic where we play on the wings, and we play 4-3-3, and there's overlapping wingers, there's pace on the outside. And it was just like watching, and both of you will remember the games, I guess, the Tottenham game at London Stadium last year and the Chelsea game at London Stadium last year, where it was like he did no work into what the opposition are good at all. And they got completely ripped apart every single time they went forward, even down to, I think it was the Somerville goal, which I quite enjoyed. Somerville scoring on Graham Potter. That was fun. Yeah. We've still got him for a couple more weeks, so I could enjoy it for the moment. But it was quite nice because, he didn't know how to use Somerville. We didn't know how to use anybody. And there was all this gap, this huge gap between the 3 centre-halves who were backing off. And there was no cover in central midfield. And I was like, yeah, I saw that. I saw that over and over and over again. I just feel like he had a great idea. And the moment it stopped working, he was like, well, that's that, I guess. Well, try again next time. And it's like, Sweden are going to get knocked out the World Cup and got embarrassed. Well done,
I like
mate.
your
Put
tweet.
your hat on.
I like this one. It says, does Graham Potter know how to say the boys gave everything in Swedish?
Yeah, he almost certainly does, because obviously speaking the language. He's also got a big cowboy hat now, hasn't he, which he bought for the tournament. Yeah.
I've got to say, I did find myself to be absolutely pitiful when posting that tweet, but I did enjoy it because he was doing the interview and I was taking photos of his face to find the stupidest face I could that he was pulling, that I could send it to some of my West Ham friends who all loathe him rightly. I am. Do you know what? I'm going to carry that bitterness forever, and I don't feel bad about it. I've got happiness. I can take some happiness and bitterness. It's a nice mix. But he just says the same things over and over again. He's a man that will not learn, does not learn. His arrogance for a man with no aura is supreme. And I just cannot understand. Walking on the field with that 10-gallon hat just really believes himself to be some sort of footballing icon. And he looked like the Burke that he is. And I'm glad they got walloped. And I hope they get walloped again.
We're nearly out of time, Tom. You're working on American broadcasting at the moment. So they daring to dream? They starting to believe? What's your take on it? How far do you think they can go, very briefly?
Well, firstly, I'll say that talkSPORT is live on Sirius XM FC right now, and if you're in the US, I'll be on in 2 hours, so we can look forward to that.
Excellent.
But secondly, I think what's happened is they have an inferiority complex in America because American soccer is like, what, 5th or 4th most popular. But there's been a great vibe of like kids who play baseball now playing soccer. They've been filling out these stadiums. They're, playing these games in these packed out sports-loving liberal cities, and it's all gone really well. So I think there is obviously natural American exuberance and arrogance after a couple of wins that we can now win it. We turn up in a sport and we win it because we're American, and generally that's true in sports they create and they don't let anyone else to play. But like in this one, I think the realistic people are a bit like, it could have been embarrassing, it could have been awful, and now it's like the concept of them winning I think was laughable in the summer. Now I think it's extremely unlikely, but they look really competent, really well organised, and the team that beats them in this World Cup, on the way the pathways go, I think maybe quarter-final, they're going to need to be really good. And I think that's a big difference maker. And if they then win that quarter-final, if they get a favourable draw and they miss Spain, they miss Argentina, same as us really, hoping for decent teams, I can see a potential semi-final run. I don't think they'd beat the top 4 or 5 teams, but I wouldn't want to face them in LA in the round of 16 if I was Netherlands, for example.
Good stuff, Tom. We'll catch up with you later in the tournament. Thanks very much.
Thanks, guys.
There's Tom Rennie appearing on Sirius FM at the moment over in the States. We're going to talk. It's the 40th anniversary of The Hand of God, even by Diego standards, the most notorious game, one of the most memorable games of his career, because he went on to score one of the greatest goals, of course, of all time. We'll be chatting to Assis Burham, who is the author of a new book, The Other Side of the Hand of God, behind the scenes on that day, speaking to all the main protagonists. And we'll have a special football shirt in the stadium. It's like we're working a stadium in the studio. I'd like to think of it as a stadium, Andy.
Yes.
Sorry, I did get up early. It's Paul Hawksbee and Andy Jacobs. 1 o'clock this afternoon, live in New York with Jim White and Simon Jordan.
Well, we're talking about Arsenal because the press are talking about Arsenal.
Squeezed Arsenal into a World Cup show.
You're about to hear. Are you Arsenal in disguise? In the Daily Mail. Yeah, we're going there. We're going there.
Who's written that? Is that you? Is that by Laura Coke Francis?
Yes, it is. Yeah, it's my first line in the Daily
well
Mail.
Done. Congratulations.
The Nation joins Gunners fans in praise of Rice's corners.
Oh, come on. This is... Benty and I were out hobnobbing with the Rich and Famous last night, or maybe Rich and Shameless, and we were talking to Piers Morgan.
Okay.
Right?
Yeah.
And he asked the same question about Declan Rice's corners, and I'm like, he's just taking the corner, the fella.
Mate, no.
I love Declan. You know that.
Hey,
but unless you've got Harry Kane running onto it, a corner's only as good as the finish.
No, look at Arsenal doing all season, and people have criticised us for that.
You just bullied goalkeepers, you smashed goalkeepers out of the way.
That's so right. So the hypocrisy here is loud and clear. In the Daily Mail, which I've just messed up there, they're calling it dark arts in praise of the dark arts that England have employed at corners, which we've been very vocal about.
We're not doing those corners at the World Cup.
Yeah, exactly.
Declan's doing outswingers.
Did you see the amount of... So do Arsenal.
Yeah, I'm saying, but when it's an in-swing, everyone's smashing into the keeper. These are outswings. Harry Kane's running onto them.
Now, all the blocks, I saw the blocks the other night, England.
Yeah, so just to be clear, corner's good, but corner's not good when Arsenal do it. In-swing are good, outswing are bad.
Unless Harry Kane's on the end of them,
so safe to say, according to you, and I think I speak on behalf of Arsenal Nation here, I'm not allowing you to enjoy us having corners, if that's all right. So as far as you're concerned, it was 3-2.
I'll speak on the rest of the nation, right? And I don't like your attitude.
I love it.
Yeah, the hypocrisy.
No, here's what's going to happen. Yep. So you, of course, won't remember, and neither will I, but in 1966, when England won the World Cup, right? Jeff Hurst scored 3 and Martin Peters scored the other one, and Bobby Moore lifted it. And West Ham, for years, were like, West Ham won the World Cup. And this is exactly what you're doing now with Arsenal.
It is exactly what we're doing.
Right.
But
Declan Rice took the corner. Now, I love Declan, so I don't want to say this, but out of everyone that played, who got the lowest marks?
You don't believe that?
I don't believe that.
Declan was very good.
I know he was, but it's Harry Kane. It's Jude Bellingham.
The delivery
It's all about the delivery. There's no point Harry Kane being there if the delivery is not on point.
No. Great delivery. If no one's heading it, doesn't matter.
Total football, tiki-taka, the gegenpress, ways of playing the beautiful game that have defined eras. They're all, of course, team styles, but there's one player who invented an individual position which no one else has been able to play since. A man by the name of Franz Beckenbauer. His role became known as libero, which means free in Italian, because there was a similar position well used in Italy in the late 50s and early 60s. But he refined it and made it his own. Now, when I say he was a sweeper, you're picturing him marauding in front of the back line. But Beckenbauer covered the entire pitch. He was like Alan Hansen, Claude Makelele and Paul Scholes, all in one. Despite his success at club level, though, Beckenbauer was told to play as a more traditional centre-back by the West Germany manager Helmut Schön at the 1966 and 70 World Cups. After years of begging to be set free, Schön relented, and in 1974, Beckenbauer had the tournament of a lifetime. His libero role was put to the test when he came across this lot in the final with their total football. West Germany won, and Beckenbauer had this moment of pure joy. His style hasn't been replicated since. Players have tried, but it's testament to just how good he was that no one's even come close.
Now, talkSPORT are the official radio broadcaster of FIFA World Cup 2026, and to celebrate, we're giving you the chance to win £26,000 cash, and the best part is it's completely tax-free. That's right, £26,000 could be yours. Fund your summer. You can enter now. Here's how, Andy Jacobs. How do we enter?
For your chance to win, visit talksportwin.com or text WIN to 83338 by 6 p.m. on the 20th of July 2026. Text costs £2.50 plus your standard network rate, or send your name and number by post to Comp1, PO Box 3190, Colchester CO2 8GP, to arrive by midnight on the 23rd of July 2026. 18 plus, UK residents only. For your chance to win, text WIN to 83338 now. It's network promotion, full T's and C's at talksportwin.com.
Yeah, good luck. Anyway, 40 years ago today in the Azteca Stadium, where they're playing, of course, World Cup games currently, Diego Maradona had one of his most notorious performances. First punching one in, much to the annoyance.
I didn't think it was handball.
No, really, there's no evidence. And, of course, then scoring that absolute worldie. To market, a new book, The Other Side of the Hand of God, Inside the Most Notorious Match in World Cup History by Asif Burham, is out today. Asif was hoping to come in, but he's been undone by the trains in this hot weather, so he joins us down the line. But Adam Gascoigne is here from Bud Auctions, and they've got a big World Cup sale, and he's bought in an iconic bit of memorabilia from that day. But first, let's say hello to Asif. Hi, Asif.
Hi, thanks for having me on.
It's a pleasure. Oh, you're wearing the shirt.
Wearing the iconic shirt.
I take it that's not Diego's. Is
no,
it that one?
I'm not quite rich enough to afford that. It's a very good replica, though. But the fact that so many items from that match are worth so much is part of the story of why this has gone into history.
Much to Steve Hodges' joy. So you've covered all the ground. You spoke to players, Terry Butcher, John Barnes, Chris Waddle, commentators, Martin Tyler and Barry Davis. I knew one of the snappers involved, Bob Thomas, who was there, and I've spoken to him about this game, and he had a big part to play because that iconic picture he bought at the time at the ground.
Oh, really?
Yeah. A forensic exploration of all the political backdrop as well. and all the fallout subsequently. So you've covered all the ground, Asif, on this day.
Yeah, it's always been a match that's fascinated not just me, but I think everyone around the world. I mean, there's a quote in there from Gary Lineker who said that it's probably the most famous football match ever played, and it's hard to disagree with that. 40 years on, we're still talking about it. It kind of still captivates everybody around the world.
I'll give you 1966, but never mind.
Well,
I'll tell you one thing about Gary Lineker. Somebody put this up, and I'd forgotten this, because you do forget details.
His chance that he had at the end.
That chance, and the header.
Honestly, it's a couple of strands of hair from it going in, isn't it, really?
Yeah, a lot of the England players I spoke to feel that had that chance been taken, and it was an incredible clearance by Alberto Coutinho, the Argentinian fullback. Had it gone to 2-2, the momentum was with England, and in fact, in spite of the fact that Maradona was still on the field, most of them believe they would have gone on to win that game in extra time.
Yeah, you're right. What you say, without the political backdrop and the Falklands and everything that happened, it just wouldn't be the same. It wouldn't have had the same impact, would it? I mean, Argentina had beef with England since '66 and Sir Alf and Rattan and his shirts and all that, but
it wouldn't happen now with VAR, would it? It just wouldn't.
No, it wouldn't. I mean, one of those iconic moments. I mean, it was a shame we didn't have VAR at the time, but still, it's the politics was important, Asif, wasn't it?
Yeah, so 4 years earlier, the war was ongoing, and there was quite a bit of talk at the time that should England actually play in a tournament where Argentina were competing as holders at the time. Yeah. In that World Cup, they were drawn in separate halves of the draw, so that it was never likely they were going to meet. But in this one, it was quite evident they were going to meet once England had qualified in second place in the group. And it was something that wasn't talked about by the players, but it was a motivating aspect, especially for the Argentina players, who kind of used it as kind of an impetus to kind of defeat England. And Glenn Hoddle said that Argentina had a motivation in that game that England couldn't replicate. So that was possibly one of the main reasons why Argentina, especially Maradona, played so well.
Now, as we said, Adam Gascoigne from Buds has come in. Next week, they've got a big World Cup auction, which does include a David Beckham shirt from his second red card. If you had to sit down and ask the triv question, name the two England players who've had 2 red cards, would you know it was Wayne Rooney and David Beckham? I was quite surprised. I was quite surprised at that.
I don't think I'd have gone with that.
No. But it's David's second was against Austria. Is that right? Am I going absolutely nuts here? I think it might have been Austria, Old Trafford, November 2005. But the main one you've come in with today is Peter Shilton's shirt from that game.
Yeah, so from the Hand of God game, the shirt that Shilton wore.
What's the provenance on that? Because I mean, you know, does this come direct from Peter, or had he sold it first?
For those watching on smart TVs and YouTube, just show it. Look at that. There it is. Yeah.
So, there we go.
It wasn't the most common outfit for the England keeper at the time, that grey with the blue collar, was it?
No, it's not. And it's a heavy old shirt as well.
Is it?
Oh, yeah.
Consider how hot it was in Mexico.
Well, when you think that...
Peter was old school. He remembers wearing sort of almost jumpers. He certainly, in his early days, would have worn those big, thick cotton shirts. Elbow patches as well. Look, is that the shoulder pads or is that elbows?
Shoulder and
shoulder pads. It was all very dynasty at the time. That's what it was.
When you think that Maradona and the Argentinian kitman went out shopping and bought a lightweight kit in Mexico. So to have this one, it's a heavy old shirt, and you mentioned the provenance. It as always, really important, and it can be traced back to Peter selling his collection. We also did a lot of work on the photo matching of the shirt, and you can see it's quite an easy one to match because where you've got diagonals and pinstripes, where they intersect the badge, there's obviously lots of images in the game, so we know 100% that's a shirt.
The other shirt is in the National Football Museum, the blue, one of the Argentinian shirts.
Yeah, the one that
Asif has been wearing. Shirt they bought in a shop.
A while I was chatting about a TV idea years and years ago of a pal, and the idea of reuniting, going over to Argentina with Peter to reunite him with Diego. And somebody who knew Peter said, well, Diego might do it if you give him enough money, but Pete's still really angry.
I don't blame him.
He'd probably hit him. So we thought it wasn't such a good idea. But yeah, I mean, he was obviously incredibly upset. One of the great injustices of his career, wasn't it? That's why it's such an iconic shirt, I guess. What's that expected to fetch?
So we've got an estimate of 200,000 to 300,000 on it.
Wowee.
Yeah. which is cheap when you think that Maradona's shirt from the same game sold for $6 million plus a premium, so it's a snip.
I always worry when you bring them into us. I always think, like, in the evening before you take them back, someone in your family might think, I'll just stick an old shirt on and do a bit of decorating in. And you come back and it's covered in emulsion.
Notoriously, we had one of Norman Hunter's shirts, one of his tracksuits, and it had got all paint splashes because he used to do the decorating in it.
Oh, if Norman put it there, that kind of adds to it, doesn't it?
Yeah, so fantastic. That wouldn't be the first time that's been done.
But the imagery and the effect of this in Argentina is still there today. Because there's this place we've both been to. It's a sort of sausage sandwich place, and they have this thing called the Mano de Dios, the hand of God, and it's basically Maradona's arm holding a sausage.
A sausage.
That's amazing, isn't it?
Yeah. Wherever you go in Buenos Aires, there's murals, and that includes either the hand of God, because he was seeing, like, this is the thing, Asif, isn't it? We've chatted a lot about Argentinian people about this. It was seen as a great sort of, they picked England's pocket. It's not seen as cheating. It was just seen as just like a kind of this sort of street kid picking the establishment's pocket.
Yeah, it's interesting to think, what if the hand of God had just stood on its own and there wasn't the second goal? But I think the two goals coming so close to each other, almost like two sides of the same face, and they both symbolise what Maradona was. You couldn't have one without the other.
Yeah.
And even in the match, the England players say he couldn't have scored the second goal had he not scored the first goal, because the first goal had unbalanced the team and left them in a bit of a muddle.
It's a bit harsh, that, because there's an 8-minute slice on the iPlayer of Maradona in that game, and all it is his touches in that game.
Yeah.
And he's absolutely brilliant.
Yeah,
no
of course.
question.
I mean, through Gary Lineker said it's the closest, he said on ITV the other night in his guest appearance, the closest he ever came just to applauding another team's goal. He was on the pitch, but thought better of it. Nice one. So the auction, is it online? Can people go and check out the stuff?
It's online. People can view it now and bid now. The auction itself is taking place on the 25th, so Thursday.
Yeah.
At the Kensington Gardens Hotel, which is a hotel where the England team stayed in '66.
Brilliant. Excellent. Good to see you again, Adam. Hope it goes well. Buds, what's the website?
Buds.com.
Okay, pretty straightforward.
Brilliant.
And Asif, the book's out today. Is that right?
Yeah, so to mark the 40th anniversary, it's out today. And thanks to Pitch for publishing it for me. And I think you'll find there's lots of interesting stories to do with the TV coverage, fans who were at the game, fights that took place before and after. So even if you've never seen a match, there's plenty to learn still about
I don't think Schultz will be reading
When you
it.
look at that photo, that iconic photo, Maradona, even though he uses his hand, he's miles above him. I mean, Pete doesn't even seem to take off for some reason.
Well, after you're not expecting somebody to punch one in, he's probably going for it thinking, well, he's only small, I'll get to it first. Nice one. Asif, thank you very much. And Adam, thank you very much for popping in.
Pleasure.
Asif Berham, the author of The Other Side of the Hand of God, out today, published by Pitch, and Adam Gascoigne from Buds Auctioneers. We're going to look at why there's been so many goals in this World Cup very, very shortly with Dean Scoggins over in New York for The Sun. We're here with our good friends at Selco Builders Warehouse. Check out this month's real deals at selcobw.com.
Talking about Jude Bellingham, because of his talent, because of his ability, Kyle, he's often the focus of attention, isn't he? I mean, tell us, I mean, you've been in the same dressing room as him. What's he like as a person?
No, he's good, and I think he carries a lot of weight on his shoulders for such a young boy. I think people probably forget how young he is. Obviously, he's gone on from leaps and bounds from Birmingham City to Dortmund to now playing for, one of, if not the biggest clubs in the world. But I was saying it before, I think Morgan Rogers is a great player. I played with him at City. He's done unbelievable for Villa. But I just think in them moments, Jude Bellingham probably pips him just because of the big game moments, and last night proved that.
Yeah.
How good is he? Because you've been in training with him, you played with him. Because when we watch him, I just see someone who can score left foot, right foot. I see someone who can get box to box, good in the air. Looks like the complete player.
Yeah, I think, he's an all-rounder. He can tackle, he can defend, he can attack, he scores goals. As you just said, left, right foot, he's got an engine on him. Is he a silky number 10 that we're probably used to seeing in the Premier League? Probably not. He's more of a powerhouse, but, in these conditions that they're playing the World Cup in like this, it could work to our advantage with having him, Declan and, Anderson, that all have good engines on them and then can get up and down the pitch.
Does it ever get to him, the sort of criticism that he gets, the media attention that he gets?
I think probably it does. I think probably it does some way, but I don't think you can let it get to you. I think when you're a big football player like that with a name that you've got, obviously you're going to hear and you're going to see. People are going to tell you what people are saying.
Hello, I'm Matt Forden from talkSPORT. This is How to Win the World Cup.
This is the best squad I think England have ever had.
He used to love America, now he doesn't. It's very sad.
It was so important to succeed because of all the pressure we received.
Don't jump for this one, I'm going to knock his head off.
Warning, this podcast does not guarantee England will actually win anything.
Cape Verde might try their luck here. It is driven in right-footed. Oh, it's in! It's found its way past Fernando Muslera. And Cape Verde have scored their first World Cup goal. And the player who has scored it is Kevin Pina with a rocket of a free kick.
Yes, you didn't watch it live, haven't had time to watch the replay. Wow, what a free kick. Just drilled it low into the corner. KP, yeah, good to see KP's red ball run. So that is our feel-good moment of the day with Meantime. And the fact that they then went 2-1 behind and were able to come back into the game again with another really good opportunist
it's a great
finish.
Story. They've been fantastic.
Yeah, one of the stories of the World Cup. So it kind of, whether it justifies the slightly flabby tournament, but the fact that countries like that can still turn it on is great to watch.
You can argue it either way. It's great. Yeah. That's a great story, but some of them have been absolutely thrashed. So
Well, that's a game. That was a game that had goals in it, and we'll move on to that shortly. But for now, that was our So Good moment of the day with Meantime. talkSPORT have teamed up with Meantime to create So Good Lager for the World Cup. Available now at all O'Neill's pubs, some of the best sports bars in the UK. 18 plus. Always drink responsibly.
The So Good moment of the day on talkSPORT with Meantime. talkSPORT have teamed up with Meantime to create So Good Lager for the World Cup. Available now at all O'Neill's pubs and some of the best sports bars in the UK. 18 plus, always drink responsibly.
Busy show today. We do want to squeeze in a chat with Dean Scoggins over in New York for The Sun. He writes fine tactical analysis for the paper. There's a lot of goals been scored in this tournament, Andy, you've noticed.
Yeah, I went, look, you can see my notes. I went through and counted them all. It's 114, I think, and counting. And we're not even through the second lot of games. There were only, put it in perspective, 172 in the whole of the 2022 competition, which apparently was a record. So I was just wondering last night, why have there been so many goals scored, especially as we've seen some great goalkeeping, and they're not given a lot of penalties.
No, and the minnows aren't getting gubbed, barring the old 7-1 for Germany. Dean joins us now. Hi, Dean.
Hi, fellas. How are you?
Good, thank you. Sorry, times are pressing, so we'll crack on. Why, as Big Alan would say, why are we seeing so many goals, do you think?
Well, I think there's a few factors. So we're averaging over 3 goals a game at the moment, which is fantastic for us to watch. And I was actually just looking at the stats there as well. And fastest to 100 goals in a tournament since 1954.
Wow.
So which is fantastic. I think a number of reasons. First of all, it is a expanded tournament, so the 48 teams has meant that some of the opposition are slightly less. But the thing that's, as you mentioned there about the tactics, the thing that's been jumping out for me is how late the goals have been going in, and it's 28% or 29, nearly 29% of the goals been going in the last 15 minutes.
That's interesting.
And if you think about the new rules and regulations, more substitutes, more teams bringing on attacking players late in the game when players are tired in the heat, and the game's opened up a bit. And we've been talking a lot about finishers, rugby-style finishers in these games where England are so strong. And bringing on players that late in the game means more goals.
Yeah, maybe that thing of people getting worn down slightly by the heat, you'd think those little 3-minute hydration breaks would give them some fresh legs. But yeah, as Alan Pardew said, no one wants to be a finisher, but they're getting increasingly important, aren't they?
Yeah, they really are. And again, it bodes well for England because England have got amongst the best squads in the tournament. And if you think that you can be bringing on Rodgers, Eza, Saka, Rashford late in the game when against a tiring defence, not only does it keep your first team slightly fresher, but you're bringing those guys on to hit them when they're tired. So I think it will carry on like this. And the other thing that I've noted as well, which again will probably bode well for England, but a lot of these teams are really struggling to defend set pieces. I mean, we've seen it all season long in the Premier League of Arsenal in particular, but Spurs as well, and other teams have really focused on their set piece patterns. And there's been international sides here who just can't cope with it. I mean, Spain against Saudi Arabia yesterday, the Saudi Arabians looked like they'd never defended a set piece in their lives. And Spain aren't the biggest team in the world, but still managed to pick them apart from set pieces.
What about the ball, Dean? Because that's been, we've sort of not disagreed about it, but at first we weren't sure about it. And it seems to me that if you hit it, it really stays true and really is difficult for keepers. And if you hit it wrong, it goes miles over the bar.
Yeah, you were just talking about the Cape Verde free kick there, weren't you, just before I came on? And we were talking to Joe Hart about it, and Troy Deeney on our show, on our Sun show, was talking about it as well. But they feel like it's not swerving, it's not moving around, it's going very true, but it is flying, and it's almost like a golfer at altitude. It's like it feels like it's going further and faster. So yeah, the goalkeepers are talking about it, and a few of the camps apparently of regretting not bringing the balls in earlier to practice with.
Wow, interesting. Dean, we're out of time, but good to talk to you. Hopefully catch up with you later in the tournament. Thanks very much.
Thanks, fellas.
Dean Scoggins over in New York for The Sun. They're producing their own show, as you hear. Of course, our podcast will be available from today's show. If you missed any of it, we had some great guests today. And that will be available very shortly wherever you get your podcasts. Andy's switching days with Charlie. Charlie will be with me tomorrow, building up to England. Andy will be back on Wednesday for all the fallout. Steve Bruce among our guests that head to England. Graham Lasso hopefully joining us as well. So do hope you can join us from 10 tomorrow. But coming up next, live from New York, it is Jim White and Simon Jordan.
I've got to speak to you about England then. Obviously, of course, the result the other day. Really good second half performance. First and foremost,